I'm sorry, you guys. I had to track down where that elevator music was coming from. Turns out, Court TV. I guess they'd be playing hold music now. They's fancy. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, Toe Beans. Hey, MK. Hey, the boss lady. Kathy 4, Melanie. We see Urban Our. I don't know why I want to leave out the word our. Our Urban Homestead. Good to see you. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Hey, Gretchen. Hey, Donna. Good to see everybody. Welcome back in. Welcome back in. Chicken Shy, Douglas, Pumpkins. Hello. Karen. Hello. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. We're just a couple of minutes shy of hopefully them starting. I hope it starts on. Hey, Christina. I hope it starts on time. Honestly, you guys, I'm at a loss. I can't even prepare you for who might be on the stand next. I will just probably after today, I'll probably have like a better idea of who kind of I think is going to be on the stand at different, what order they're going in. But right now, I'm over here like Kai, the hatchet wielding hitchhiker. I can't call it. Yeah, I can't. I don't know what's happening yet. But I do think that the witnesses that testified that were there to testify, not just authenticate evidence. So I do think that the public's assistant manager did what he was supposed to do, and the 911 dispatcher did a good job. But the ones that actually testified, which was George's younger brother, Juan, I thought he did a very good job testifying. I thought that the roommates, Brandon and Vinny, did a fantastic job testifying, particularly. They were very clear and very descriptive about what time they heard this loud noise coming down the stairs, or, sounding like it was coming down the stairs, particularly Brandon. He did he was more descriptive than Vinny. But I do think that that testimony, particularly that part, is going to be very, very important. Because if after Sarah Boone testifies, the judge decides that, yes, she has testified to the overt threat. Is that the word? Yeah, the overt threat or the overt action. Now I can't even remember. My brain hurts. If he decides that now the the battered spouse defense can come in, testimony regarding that can come in. I think it's going to be really important, because I go back to what what Mr. Owens said in his opening, which is that it's what happened during the interim, the 11 minutes between the two videos, that's important. And I disagree. I think all of it is the key to this trial, but particularly when she gets her cookies up on that stand and testifies that she was, she felt like her life was in danger. There was an imminent threat, and the jury reflects back on the testimony from the neighbors. And I still maintain that when Sarah Boone says she lost control of the suitcase, I believe that she's talking about when the suitcase went down the stairs. I don't think that I think she's might actually be telling the truth. I actually think that she probably started out having it close to the edge of the stair at the top, to scare George. And I think she's telling the truth when she said she lost control. I think that is how he sustained some of the injuries. I think that he sustained more other injuries and more injuries from being hit with the bat. But I definitely think that suitcase with George inside of it went down those stairs. I do. And I think that I think that I think that the roommate's testimony is going to be important. Okay, they're back in court. Let me add it to the stream. Oh, there we go. Oh, so let me make sure I have the closed captions on. Okay, I do. I usually keep those on, but sometimes, like after um, I'm not streaming anymore and I'm just watching YouTube's on my own time, I I forget that I've left that on and I have to turn it off. I'm one of those people that gets okay. So, how Netflix has changed things. All right. So obviously, I have a Netflix account, right? And my husband and I share the same account because we live in the same household. But there are times when, in the past, he would forget to log out of the Netflix account in my room, in the bedroom, in our room, and leave it. And I would go to put it on, and the closed captioning would be on, and it just absolutely drives me nuts because I'm one of those people. There are times when subtitles are required, right? For example, anytime during the Lord of the Rings, when they're not speaking English, they're speaking Elvish or the language of Mordor, stuff like that. Okay, that's reasonable. All right. But just to have it on is a source of irritation for me because I'm at the movies. If I wanted to read, I'd get a book. Um, and then one time there was how some movies or shows will start with words that you have to read on the screen, like Star Wars. Star Wars, for whatever reason, I never have trouble reading those words, but I forget what we were watching, and there were words on the screen at the beginning, like important words, not who's in the movie or who's directed it. Important words, right? And I couldn't see them, and I had my glasses on, and I couldn't see them, and he did something and adjusted the print and made it like super huge to be a smartass, and I was like, "Bruh, come on, always giving me a rash of shit." I'm telling y'all, this is a hostile work environment. And I'm noticing that Sarah's hair is looking a tad frizzy and a little frazzled there in the back. Maybe she took a little nap during lunch and she's got the bed head going on because I don't know what my audio is jumpy. Let me look. Let's see what's happening here. Is it jumpy for anybody else? Okay. Okay. It's good because I can't usually it's if I try to mute the screen audio, it messes up. But okay, the sound is good. Okay. So I forgot what I was gonna say. Sarah looks like she's got a bit of the bedhead. I'm not gonna front at all. I would think, um, Douglas, that day one will likely go to 5 o'clock. Maybe a little afterwards. I know that the state for sure has said, you know, he wants to make sure that they use every minute up until 5 o'clock while they, you know, that they don't waste any of the jury's time. So I would think that this is going to go till 5 o'clock. Um, oh, dear.
All right, we're back on the record. State of Florida versus Sarah Boone, 2020 CF 2603. Can I get appearances for counsel for the record, starting with counsel for the state?
Dave Kester on behalf of the state. William J. for the state.
Defense.
James Owens for Sarah Boone. Kelly Henderson for Sarah Boone. Kevin Beck against Sarah Boone.
Ms. Boone is seated at counsel's table. Where are you?
I guess Judge Kranick wanted to make sure we were all alert, all awake, and we all had a little hearing test prior to the start of this afternoon session. Thank you for that, Judge Kranick. You're always thinking of us, and we really appreciate it.
If you want to test it out, Mr. J.
What are we testing out? Oh. Technology. Oh, we're going to get to see or hear something, y'all.
Call 1 at 12:59 p.m.
Oh, this is the 911 call.
Says of minus 300 minutes. Call on month.
Well, Nate, if by good stuff you mean my babbling at the beginning of the video before the court actually starts, then if that's what you think is good stuff, then yes, you definitely missed good stuff. If by good stuff you mean the court and the trial itself, no, you did not miss any good stuff. They just started.
Call 1 at 12:59 p.m. with a GMT offset of minus 300 minutes. Call on Monday, February 24th, 2020.
911, what is the location of your emergency?
That is the best I can do, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Casey. I appreciate that. I do babble. Oh, thank you, Roro. Thank you. I appreciate that, babe. You guys are fantastic. You're incredibly supportive of me, and I am truly, truly humbled and grateful for it. All of you guys, really, I am. I am.
We're here to stay.
Okay. All right. Anything else, state, we need to
Thank
address?
you, Jennifer. I appreciate that, babe.
Defense.
No, sir.
Okay. All right. Just in the spirit of full disclosure, there are some persons behind me to my right and my left. I run the mock trial program at Barry University School of Law here in town, and these are some of my students as a member of that program. So they're here just simply to observe.
Oh, I love
So
it.
pay no mind or attention to them. With that, are we ready to bring in our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
All right, let's stand and bring in our panel.
Let me just say this. If ever I were to go back to school and become, I would either be a nurse or be a lawyer. But if ever I was going to go back to school and be a lawyer, I would absolutely 11 billion% want to be part of shadowing Judge Kranick. I just absolutely adore him. You know, I've watched a lot of trials in my day. I've seen a lot of judges, and there are some that, in my opinion, just stand out Judge Newman is one of them. Judge Jennifer Doros is another one. Judge Kranick is another one. And Judge Werner from Letitia Stauch's trial is another. They just stand out to me. And I really also like the judge I lost my comments. I really like the judge in Leilani Simon's trial as well. I'm also really, really enjoying the prosecutor in the Leilani Simon trial. He looks like Wes Bentley to me from, he's been in a lot of stuff, American
to
Horror
recognize our
Story.
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, to recognize our jury. All right, y'all can be seated. Thank you.
Thank you, Mandy girl. I appreciate that, babe. Thank you so much.
Members of the jury, good afternoon. I hope you enjoyed your lunch. If you could, again, by a show of hands, confirm that you complied with the court's instructions that we gave prior to the break. Record reflect all jurors' hands have been raised. With that, the state is going to continue with their evidence presentation this afternoon. State, you may call your next witness.
State will call Brian Boone.
Forgive my outbursts. For those who don't need a refresher, Brian Boone is Sarah Boone's ex-husband. He was there on the scene when Sarah called 911 and lied her face off about doing CPR. Yes.
Mr. Boone, raise your right hand and be sworn, please. If you swear or affirm the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes. Sir, good afternoon. You could be seated. After seated, if you could please state and spell your name for the record for us.
Brian Boone, BRIAN, BOONE.
Thank you, sir. You may inquire.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Can you tell us how it is that you know the defendant?
I dated her for quite a while, and then we eventually got married.
When you say you dated her for quite a while, how long are we talking?
I met her in the late 90s, and I believe it was around 2005 when we got married.
Did you have any children as a result of your marriage with the defendant?
Yes, we had one son.
And how old is that son?
He is currently getting ready to turn 14.
Did your marriage with the defendant last?
No, it did not.
And approximately when was it that you separated and began proceedings for divorce?
Probably 2017, I'm thinking maybe.
And at that time, when was your divorce actually finalized?
Maybe it was 2016. I think the divorce was 2017, I believe.
And after your divorce, what was your custody arrangement with your son that you had in common with the defendant?
She was supposed to have him on Mondays and Tuesdays. I would have him Wednesday, Thursdays, and then we'd alternate Friday through Sundays every other week.
So 1 week you would have 5 days with your son, and another week she would have 5 days with him.
Correct.
And was this still the same custody arrangement in February of 2020?
Yes.
And in February of 2020, did you have, do you recall the events that occurred, I guess, first on the late evening of February 23rd, 2020?
On that evening?
Yes.
Well, apparently Sarah called me at one point during the night.
Do you recall about what time she called you?
I think it was 11 something.
When you answered the phone, how did Sarah sound on the phone?
She sounded like she had been drinking, was pretty drunk.
Were you able to understand what the defendant was saying?
Somewhat, but she woke me up. I had work the next day. I was asleep when she called. She's done this before, calling me late at night, and generally I kind of just try to ignore it, so I wasn't really paying attention.
Who was she living with at the time?
Jorge Torres?
When she called you late that evening, could you hear George in the background at all?
Not that I remember, no.
Did you pay much attention to this phone call?
No.
Now, the following morning, on February 24th, 2020, did you begin to call the defendant?
Yes, I did.
Bless
And
you.
approximately what time did you begin to call the defendant?
I think it was like 11 o'clock or something.
And why was it that you were calling her?
Well, it was going to be Monday. I had him on Sunday and dropped him off at school, and I was calling to trying to find out if she was going to be actually picking him up that day.
Why would you have a question about whether or not she was picking him up?
She wasn't generally very good about actually getting him on the day she was supposed to.
So it was not uncommon for you to have to remind her to pick him up or to make sure that she was going to pick him up.
Well, I mean, remind or just find out if she was going to, or if she was just going to give him over to me as what happened.
Do you remember at what time on February 24th you actually got in touch with the defendant?
I think it was like 12:30 or something.
And when you actually got in touch with her, what did she tell you on the phone?
That George was dead, and if I would come over.
Did she say what happened to him?
I don't remember if she told me then on the phone or when I got there, but she told me they had been playing hide and seek and that she fell asleep.
What did you advise her to do?
I told her she needed to call 911 and that I would come over as soon as I could.
And this is on your first phone call here at approximately 12:30
Yes.
on 2/24/2020.
Yes.
Did she call you again while you were en route to her residence?
She did. She called to find out if I was still going to be coming over.
And when you spoke with her while you were en route, what, if anything, did you advise her?
I told her she needed to call 911 and told her I was on my way, but she needed to get somebody over there.
How long did it take you to arrive at her residence?
From the first phone call, or?
Yes, from the first one.
Well, I mean, I live a minute or two drive away, but I had to get my puppy. We had just gotten a puppy recently. I had to get him in his crate and stuff like that and put something on because I was working from home. And total time, maybe 10 minutes.
When you arrived at her apartment, tell us what she told you when you arrived.
George was dead, and I don't remember if she told me now or before that they had been playing hide and seek and she fell asleep. But I, at that time, told her again she needed to get 911 called to get somebody over there.
Had she called 911 at this point?
No, she had not.
So you've advised her now 3 times to call 911.
Yes.
Did you go inside of her apartment?
I walked in the front door into the little tiled area, like entranceway thing.
What, if anything, did you observe when you made it to that point?
Looking into the living room, I could see like the end of his feet and maybe a little bit of some legs that were kind of coming out around the backside of the kitchen area.
Did you continue to go into the apartment?
No.
Where did you go?
Sarah told me she was going to call 911 and go outside and have a cigarette and a drink and asked me to come out there with her. And I told her that I didn't really feel comfortable being inside. And I went out front and got in my car and waited for people to show up.
Did you witness the defendant call 911?
I think I was in there when she dialed it and first got somebody on the phone, but I wasn't there for the whole conversation. No, I was outside.
Did you stay there at the scene while police arrived?
Yes, I was there. I was part of it. I knew I'd have to talk to somebody, so
Did you talk with law enforcement?
I did.
Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
Judge, we want to reserve our questions for when we call him in our case.
Okay. All right, sir. You're subject to recall.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Just as long as he remains under subpoena.
My understanding is subject to recall.
So somebody will contact me about when we come back?
Yes, sir.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir. State, you may call your next witness.
Your Honor, may we approach a moment?
Yes.
Okay. I think that was incredibly smart of the state. Brian was there to testify to some very specific things. Now, they know from prior hearings, the state knows from prior hearings that what the defense intends to do is grill this man because of the alimony situation that's currently pending in family court right now. Okay. And had they continued to talk to him and question him about their marriage, about their divorce, what it would have done is open the door on cross-examination for the defense to be able to ask those questions. Now, instead, we're going to get that man up. The defense is going to have to call Brian Boone to the stand themselves, right? And be a jerk to him. That's what attack him, pretty much.
You may do so.
Oh, my bad. He testified to
300 minutes. Call on Monday, February 24th, 2020.
911, what is the location of your emergency?
4748 Brent Court, apartment 3.
4748, what's the street name?
Brent, Frantd.
And the appointment number?
30.
Is this a police or medical?
My boyfriend is dead.
Okay, send a line for the fire department, do not hang up.
Location matching.
That's good.
No, please don't leave.
4748 France Lane, apartment 3,
Brent Court.
France Court.
Yes.
Okay, is this near Mackenzie Drive?
I don't know where that is.
Okay, right.
It's still with Park Apartment.
Okay, 4748 France, correct?
Correct.
All right, correct. Now tell me exactly what happened there.
My boyfriend and I were playing last night, and I put him in a case and we were playing. And,
Okay.
but kind of hide and seek kind of thing. So I fell asleep,
and I woke up and he was dead in the suitcase, so I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened.
Right, okay, what's your apartment number?
3,
Apartment 3?
yes, like he had like blood coming out of his mouth, and I don't know, like he had like an aneurysm or what happened.
Right, okay, all right, okay, this is, we're getting another G. All right, okay. Okay,
Right now?
okay, 40, yeah, man, this is, we're on our way up there here. Yeah, 407-716-8684. Okay, you hanging from somewhere or what, man?
No, I pulled him out of the suitcase. I tried giving him CPR.
Okay, so he was in a suitcase?
Yes, and I fell asleep.
Okay, how old is the person, man? 42-year-old man. All right. Okay,
Yes.
we're setting up on the sheriff's officer out there?
Yes, ma'am.
Hang on just a second. I don't want to interrupt the call. Yes, the jury is present, Paula. Yes, they are. They're hearing this, and they're all going to hear what we heard 11 billion years ago when we first started talking about this case. They're going to hear all of it. Here we go.
Yeah, okay. All right, listen to me. Okay, that you need to confirm this. No, right, I understand. You need to confirm this. Is he awake at all? Is he conscious at all?
No, he's purple.
Is he breathing?
No.
All right. I need you to get him on the floor, flat on his back for me, okay?
I did. I tried giving him CPR.
All right.
I tried giving him CPR.
Yeah, okay, well,
No, nothing happened. He's purple.
but, okay, listen, you did the defense of the bill. I need you to get it for me, okay?
What is
And
it?
is he available?
No.
All right, you right by him now?
I'm sorry?
Are you right by him now?
Yes.
Okay, ma'am, listen, so this is he cold and stiff?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, he's not necessarily cold, but he's stiff. And
Right, okay. All right, listen to me. Listen, I want you to lay him flat on his back for me on the floor.
I did.
Removing the pillows, okay?
Yes, I did.
All right, okay.
He's stiff and purple.
Right, okay, listen, okay, man, that's fine. We're still going to put two compressions to him, okay? All right? If you look your hand on his breastbone, right in center of the chest, right between the nipples.
Yes.
Put your hand on top of that hand.
Betty, I'm telling you. Just like that, I can tell.
Okay.
Please, okay, your girdle.
Okay, listen to me. All right, I want you to place the heel of your hand. Okay, right between his chest, right between his breastbones. Put your other hand on top of that hand.
Yes.
We want to pump his chest to be hard and fast. Going to live twice per second.
I'm doing it again.
Okay, no, just keep on pumping. That's all you need to do for me. Keep on pumping his chest for me. I don't need you to stop and talk or anything. I just want you to count out loud for me, okay?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. But this is nice to me.
Okay, man, just keep on pumping his chest. That's all you need to do for me, okay?
Yes. Come on, please, hurry up.
Okay, ma'am, they're driving here as fast as they can. Okay, don't stop to say hurry up. Just keep on pumping and counting.
I'm still doing it while I'm talking to you, okay?
Okay.
Still doing it.
All right, just keep pumping his chest. Count out, I'll take a count with you.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32. Please hurry.
Okay, man, they're getting here as fast as they can, okay?
He's stiff and he's purple.
Okay, keep pumping his chest for me, man.
I'm still doing it, okay? Still doing it. Still doing the concept.
Right, okay, that's fine. You did a good job. Just keep on doing it for me. That's all right. They're getting there as fast as they can, along with the sheriff's office also, okay?
Please.
Keep on pumping, man. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep on pumping for me, man.
I'm doing it. Believe me, I'm doing it, okay? We're playing hide and seek.
All right, I understand. Keep on pumping for me, okay? Okay.
Please hurry.
Right, okay.
Horrible. This is horrific. What happened? Like, what happened?
Okay, man, keep on pumping the chest for me, okay? They're in the parking lot. They should be up there shortly, okay?
I'm still doing it, okay?
Right, okay, good. And you found them in a suitcase, you said?
Yes. We were playing hide and seek last night. I fell asleep. I think they're here.
Right, just keep on pumping the chest until they take over, okay?
I am.
Okay.
I am.
Okay.
I am.
Okay.
Open. Come in. Is it not coming out?
Let that take over for you, okay?
When was the last time anybody saw him? The last time. We were playing hide and seek. He was in the container. Okay. But unfortunately, he's been down too long. There's nothing to record him. Hello, ma'am.
And so we're there, obviously.
Alright. No, my boyfriend, is your boyfriend? Okay. Is he a little? No, not that. Hello?
Hey, man, the back one's gonna take care of you now, okay? Yeah, so we'll see you there.
Alright. Oh, ma'am, is still there? Hello? Calling back 407-716-8684, reference to mobile data. 1308.
Call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 4.
Okay, so they called her back. 911 called her back. And when 911 calls you back, it shows 911 on your caller ID. And she chose not to answer. But you can hear in the 911 call at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end. It's very, very important for Sarah to let them know they were playing hide and seek. She doesn't know what happened. It's very important for her to hear. And again, I have to point this out because every time I hear this 911 call, I remember it all over again. I can't believe that she's sitting there so stoic. At the very least, you would think that there would be some level of shock and horror, terror. She screamed and yelled and said it was horrific. And reliving that moment, you would think that would bring it all back. Remember, her new story, and I say new story because it's definitely a new story. Her new story is that it started out as a game, and then she had, a PTSD reaction when his hand was coming out of the suitcase, and she began to fight for her life. That in and of itself would bring back, I mean, she's not on anything in the jail, for Pete's sake, not for PTSD or anything like that. So the void, the blank, the nothing, I can't get past.
We're ready to continue with the presentation of witnesses.
Yes, sir. You may call your next witness.
State we call Abraham Moreno.
raise your right hand and be sworn. Please do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Okay, Abraham Moreno is a last minute witness addition to the witness list. It's the last person that we were notified of publicly that would be taking the stand. If I recall correctly, Abraham Moreno is the maintenance manager at the apartment, and I believe he heard Sarah say something very contradictory to any of her statements, including her new one.
Sir, good afternoon. Could you state and spell your name for the record for us?
Abraham, Abraham, last name is Moreno, Moreno.
Thank you, sir. You may be seated. Mr. Castro, you may inquire.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Tell us, what do you do for a living?
I'm a maintenance supervisor for apartment complexes.
Is that what your position was back in February of 2020?
Yes, it was.
And what apartment complex?
Tealwood Park Apartments.
And how long did you work for Tealwood Park Apartments?
About 2 years.
And tell us, what were some of your duties in your position there with Tealwood Park?
Daily, I cleaned the grounds, walked the property, answered maintenance calls, did emergencies, dealt with vendors.
Did you become familiar with the residents there at the apartment complex?
Yes.
Did you have occasion to meet the defendant in this case and also a Jorge Torres?
Yes.
Let me turn your attention to February 24th of 2020. Do you recall that date?
Yes.
And on that date, did you have occasion to come in contact with the defendant in this case?
At B Crumb says, I didn't know they lock you in the witness box like that. I didn't either, B Crumbs, but evidently Florida is taking no chances.
Yes, I did.
And tell us, what was the circumstances in which you came into contact with her on February 24th, 2020?
I was called by the manager and the assistant manager to come to her unit. I believe she was already sitting outside at that time.
And when she was sitting outside of her unit, what, if anything, did you observe about her and about the unit?
The police was there. Her ex-husband was present. She was sitting outside, and that's when she decided she wanted to talk to me and the managers.
And what did she tell you?
She's confused. She's not exactly sure what happened. She pointed out that she recalls that they were playing a game of hide and seek. There was an instance where you were going to teach him a lesson, and then she just doesn't recall anything else until the next morning.
Did she say she fell asleep?
Yes, she did.
Did she say things got out of hand?
I don't really recall that part, but I do recall her stating that they were playing their game and that George went into a suitcase, and I didn't ask any questions. I just let her talk for herself.
How long was this conversation?
For about 4 or 5 minutes.
Your Honor, I have no further questions at this time.
Any cross-examination?
Yes, sir.
You may inquire, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
This conversation that you had with Miss Boone,
Yes.
that took place on the 24th? Is that correct?
Yes.
And who else was present on the time that the conversation was taking place?
Standing right next to me would have been Melissa Sexton and Eugene Harris, as well as the officer who was in front of the door.
Okay, so there was a law enforcement officer there that day, is that correct?
Yes.
All right. Now, on the 24th is when you said that Miss Boone made this statement to you. Is that correct?
Yes,
They were playing hide and seek?
yes.
And what else did she say happened?
She had told me they were playing hide and seek. They had drank. She was trying to teach him a lesson, and that was that. She went upstairs. She went to sleep. She woke up. She doesn't know what happened.
Okay. So that was on the 24th.
Yes.
All right, on the 26th, were you not interviewed by law enforcement?
Yes.
Okay. So
I may have my days wrong, but it all happened on the same day.
all right, the 24th, do you remember 2 days later that a Detective Scott Lowen conducted an interview with you at 4704 Lucier Court, Winter Park, Florida? You remember that interview?
Yes.
So that was 2 days later, is that correct?
I would assume so.
Yes. All right, so when he interviewed you 2 days later, did you tell him about this statement that Miss Boone made to you that you just told this jury in court?
I did mention it to him.
You did mention it to him?
I mentioned to them that we did have a conversation.
Did you tell him the content of the conversation?
I may not have told him the whole content, but I did tell him we had a conversation.
All right, well, what did you tell him? What content did you tell him on the 26th?
That they were playing hide and seek, that she was confused. She doesn't know what happened. I do believe I did mention to him the fact that she had said that she was trying to teach him a lesson. Not that anything was done with malice. I didn't state that at all.
Okay. So it's your recollection now today that on the 26th, you told Officer Lowen what you just told this jury. Is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. Sir. In preparing for this case, did you have a meeting with the Assistant State Attorney on September 23rd of 2024?
Did I have a meeting?
Yes.
A brief chit chat over the phone.
A brief chit chat, it was over the phone?
Yes, sir.
All right. At that point in time over the phone, did you tell him that Sarah Boone, the defendant, stated that she was teaching him a lesson and things got out of hand and that she fell asleep?
Yes.
Is that what you told him?
Yes.
Okay. And that was in 2024 of September the 23rd of this year, 2024.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Are you telling us that back on February the 26th of 2020, you told Officer Lowen at that time the same thing?
As I recall, yes.
So did she ever tell you how things got out of hand?
No.
Sir, you testified that you knew both Mr. Torres and Miss Boone, is that correct?
Yes.
You actually knew George Torres from a different time, didn't you?
Yes, I did.
When did you first know George Torres?
In the 1990s.
In the 1990s?
He was a teenager and he lived down the street from me and my wife.
Thank you so much, Mary. I appreciate that. Thank you
So
for
you had
supporting
a previous
me and the
relationship
channel.
with
Thank
Mr.
you.
Torres?
No, not at all.
Not at all. You just knew him from then?
Yes, as I stated, he was a teenager and I was an adult.
Okay. During this time, though, that you became reacquainted with him, did y'all establish a friendship at that time here in Orlando?
I wouldn't say a friendship, but an acquaintance, yes.
Okay.
Is there going to be another question, Counselor, or are we just supposed to sit here?
Sir, on Monday, February the 24th, that would have been the day that you were with Ms. Sexton and Gene Harris
Yes,
out in front of the apartment.
correct.
Did you talk to law enforcement that day?
No,
You did not talk to them that day.
I don't recall talking to him that day, no.
Okay. Thank you, sir. I don't have any, if I can confer.
You can, sir.
Oh my goodness, are you going to have to do this every time?
Thank you, sir. I don't have any further questions.
Any redirect examination?
Just brief.
All right, thank you.
Back in the 90s, when you had previously known George Torres in this case, where were you living at that time?
I lived across the street. I lived on one block. He lived the next block over down in the middle.
In what city?
Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
And when did you move from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania?
2018, I believe.
So in the intervening years, from your move from Philadelphia to coming to work at Tealwood Park, did you have any contact with George Torres?
No, as a matter of fact, I moved from that particular block in 2005. So I don't meet Judge again until I work at Tealwoods.
When did you start working at Tealwoods?
2018, 2019, roughly there.
No further questions.
Can this witness be released?
No, Your Honor, just subject to recall.
All right, sir. You'll be released subject to recall. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
What in the world could the
Call your next
defense
witness.
actually need to recall him?
Kayla Rodriguez.
Oh. Okay, so the state has called Deputy Kayla Rodriguez. Miss Rodriguez was a first responder. She was the officer on scene and she's the officer whose body cam footage we've watched many, 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 many times.
Raise your right hand if you swear to swear or affirm that the testimony you should give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God. Yes.
Good afternoon, ma'am. You could be seated. Please state your name and spell it for the record if you could for us.
Kayla Rodriguez, Kayla, K-A-Y-L-A, Rodriguez, R-O-D-R-I-G-U-E-Z.
All right, thank you. Mr. Cacciatore, you may inquire.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Hi,
Can you tell us who is that you work for?
Orange County Sheriff's Office,
And what is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Deputy Sheriff.
And how long have you been a deputy sheriff?
A little over 8 years, since 2016.
And tell us, what are your duties as a deputy sheriff?
As a deputy, I respond to calls for service, anything from a over with call, like a car being keyed the day prior, or a 911 emergency.
And what type of training do you need to be a deputy sheriff?
So for me, I obtained my bachelor's degree from UCF in criminal justice in 2014. After that, in 2016, I was hired by the sheriff's office. Right after being hired, I went straight into the academy. The academy is 5 months of training. We go over everything from case law, scenarios, defensive tactics, physical training. After that, I do 2 more months with the sheriff's office where we go specifically into policy related to Orange County specifically. After that, I do 3 months on the road with a trainer where we are evaluated periodically through that process. You have a partner, you respond to calls for service during that time, and you slowly learn how to handle calls by yourself.
Do you also undergo continuing training as a condition of your employment?
Yes.
Tell us, were you working on February 24th, 2020?
Yes.
And tell us, what area of the county were you working in?
Orange County, unincorporated Orange County.
And did you receive a call in regards to this case?
Yes.
And what was that call? What information did you have at the time you received the call?
So the dispatcher informed me that a woman called 911. She was actively performing CPR and that her boyfriend was in a suitcase.
And did you respond out to the scene?
Yes.
And when you responded out to the scene, were you dressed similarly as you are dressed today?
Yes.
And just for the record, you have, it looks like a standard green uniform on with a tool belt, your firearm, and also radio, body-worn camera, badge.
Yes.
Tell us about your body-worn camera.
So my body camera is used to capture scenes when we arrive. So as we are conducting any sort of law enforcement action, we turn our camera on.
When you turn your camera on, tell us, does it immediately capture sound at that point?
It does not. When we activate our camera, it goes back a minute. And the minute that it goes back to, you don't hear any audio for that first minute.
Tell us also about the capacity and the battery life of your camera as well.
So the battery will last us an entire shift, typically if it's in a buffering mode. So if we're not recording, it will last the entire shift. As we record, it does drain the battery. So typically we will turn it off if we're sitting in our car for an extended period of time, if we call our supervisor, if we're talking to another deputy on the side, away from a scene, we will not have the camera recording. If it recorded throughout the entire shift, the battery would die. We would need multiple batteries.
So you actually activate the camera in order to begin recording?
Correct.
Was your body camera operational on this call out?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness, which has been previously marked for identification as states H, I, and G that have been shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm first showing you what's been marked for identification as states I. Do you recognize that disc?
Yes.
Did you have an opportunity to review that disc prior to coming to court today?
Yes.
And tell us, what is that disc?
Body worn camera from the day of the incident.
From February 24th, 2020?
Correct.
And is that your initials on the disc?
Yes.
And does that disc fairly and accurately represent the contents of your body-worn camera?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states I into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
All right, what was pre-marked as I will be received into evidence without objection as states 4.
Ma'am, next I'm showing you has been marked for identification as states H. Can you take a look at that disc? Tell us, what is that disc?
Body worn camera from the day of the incident.
From February 24th, 2020?
Yes.
And did you have an opportunity to review that disc prior to coming to court today?
Yes.
And is that your initials on the disc?
Yes.
And does that disc fairly and accurately represent the contents of that portion of your body-worn camera from that day?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's been marked for identification as states H into evidence.
No objection to any of those coming in.
All right, what was pre-marked as states H will be received without objection as states 5.
And lastly, ma'am, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as states G. Do you recognize this disc?
Yes.
And tell us, what is that disc?
Body worn camera from the day of the incident.
From February 24th, 2020?
Yes.
And you had an opportunity to review this camera prior to coming to court?
Yes.
And is that your initials on the disc?
Yes.
And it fairly and accurately represents your conduct on the body-worn camera?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's been marked for identification as States G into evidence.
No objection. Thank you. What was pre-marked as States G will be received without objection as State 6.
It's the body worn camera footage, Mary. That's what he's holding, walking up to her.
In Your Honor, request permission to publish States 4.
You may.
Your Honor, may we dim the lights and use the overhead projector?
Yes.
I would just like to take the opportunity before we get started in this body-worn camera footage. I would like to take this opportunity to point out that it is my opinion, and my opinion only, that Sarah Boone is thinking that she is winning right now, even though we all hear something different than that.
Hello there. Hi. You live here? Okay, I'll talk to you guys with some information. I know, that's my, the property manager. Help him really quick, or we'll take care of that. Where's he at? He wants that in. Oh, don't worry about that. We'll take care of that for you, okay? I had to figure out the. Okay, wait 1 second, okay? I really need something to bring. Okay, well, I got my dog parked on the counter. Okay, we'll take care of you 1 second. At the time, what you called it? That's the time you called it? Okay, perfect. Go ahead. 707 at 1307. You can't go back inside. What's going on? Who is he to you? Boyfriend? Yes, because of like 3.5 years. What happened? We drank last night. Can you pass this to the around to the FBI stuff? They need to sign that, sure. They're with me. Okay, not even. Okay, go. No. Each of them has to. This might be a real thing. But each of them has to put their name. Normally we always. I just put everybody. Yeah, you know, what's going on? I just got here to fill me in. No problem. Like, we're puzzle together. We can do some artwork there. You were putting a puzzle together? Yes, we have a puzzle that we started in there. Okay. We've been doing art, trying to pull stuff off the wall to make new art put up there, like having a good time with one another. But we were drinking. We had a bottle of wine last night. Okay. So then it's like we decided to play hide and seek, right? Okay. So he gets in the suitcase. Okay. Who's that? That's my assistant. My former husband. How did you live here with you guys? No. I told him over here. Okay. I didn't know what to do. Okay. I didn't know what to do. Okay. So then he came over here. Here, let's talk in private, okay? I called you guys. I tried to figure out. The problem is, I fell asleep. When did you do CPR? This morning. When I found it before you called. Yeah. 1 o'clock right now. I tried. I was awake, but I actually got out of the bed at like 12:30ish. So I came downstairs and I was like, oh, he's in the suitcase still. That's when I found him. I took him out. I tried doing CPR and then I called him and then I called you guys. Did he be here before the fire department got here? Who? The husband? Or your ex-husband? Okay. Where did you live at? Right on the street. Okay. So you were playing and who did come up there? I did, but then I fell asleep. Okay, stop. You're okay. I wasn't here. I'm just trying to figure out what happened. Like having aneurysm or a heart attack or what? What kind of medical condition? None that I know of. None that I know of. No. All we have bottle of wine. Literally, just a bottle of wine. Okay. Doing puzzles, artwork. Then we decided to play hide and seek. That's all that happened. But I don't want it there. Like, I don't know what happened. So how long were you doing CPR on him prior to calling 911? You tried that all morning? Yes. Okay. And then I told him while I was in CPR. Did you start probably, what ballpark? Here, let me fill this at the end, okay? Please, may I have my Dr. Pepper? I am so cut now. Okay. Ma'am, and you can't talk to him until we get down with paper, okay? Just don't leave, okay, Brian? Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it. Thank you. I know. Do me a favor. Stand over there by that side. Give me 1 second. There's a dog in there? Yeah. You want to help clear the back bedrooms real quick? Just make sure there's nobody else in here? Nope, he was here with the girlfriend, and that's the girlfriend's ex-husband. He was gonna see him. They were playing hide and go. This is what she said. She's been doing CPR on him all morning before calling us. Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and start making phone calls. Okay, go ahead. What do I do with this dog? Because I don't want him to mess with him. Come here. Oh, perfect. Okay. Yes. Hey, come on, let's go outside. Come on. Come on.
Good boy.
Cutie. You think about that? Mother is empty, but I just want to make sure. Take it. I'll put my foot on. Touch anything.
Orange County.
There's nothing. Put it over here. Let me check this closet. The garage. The garage.
I guess we're gonna have to set up a crime scene now.
Oh,
Sarah does keep a clean home. I'll give her that.
just give us a second, okay? It's only time I can't move anything from our house. Look here, let's get you down, because I don't want you passing out. This is probably a lot for you to deal with, right? Water. I can get you some water, okay? Just, I want you not on your feet, because I don't want you passing out. I need to find water. Okay, I'll get some for you.
Your Honor, request permission to publish States 5.
You may proceed.
I think she asked for the 2 juice boxes so that she could go back to her cell and make jailhouse hooch. That's why she needed juice boxes. Just saying.
Let's go ahead and start making the call. Ma'am, could you go ahead and give me his last name, Torres? Spell it for me, Torres. And his first name? George, Jorge. Jorge. His birthday? 2/13/78. And this is the boyfriend? Yes. How long? 3.5 years. Living together that whole time? Yes. Okay. And your last name? Boone. Spell it, Boone. First name, Sarah. SARAH. Birthday? 10/10/77. So you've had a second to kind of collect yourself. Tell it to me again. You guys were playing last night, drinking a bottle of wine,
putting puzzles together, doing artwork,
puzzles, artwork.
we had a bottle of wine, and they decided to play hide and seek.
Mhm.
So he
What
didn't,
time was that? Do you remember?
A huge bottle of wine.
I mean, I know that I was in bed probably by like what, 12:30?
Okay.
Well, I went upstairs at least, and I fell asleep, forgetting that he was
So
in
you
the
guys were
suitcase.
playing the hide and go.
Yes.
And at some point you put him in the suitcase?
No, he got in the suitcase. So he thought it'd be funny to be put in the suitcase. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna joke with you and I'll zip you up and make him, squirm a little bit, whatever it is. But then I fell asleep. I fell asleep.
Where was the suitcase?
Right where it is.
Right down there?
Yes.
You zipped him in there?
Yes.
Thought it would be funny a little
It
bit?
was. We both were laughing about it. And then I fell asleep
Where did you fall asleep at?
upstairs.
In your bedroom?
Yes.
Okay,
Totally forgetting that he was in the suitcase gone.
okay. And then
A mega pint? Oh my gosh.
you came back downstairs?
This morning, or this afternoon, yes, when I got up.
What time?
12:30-ish. I was awake, but I totally forgot that he was in the suitcase. He can tell you there's a lot of things that I/Leah think of jobs,
Yeah, he did tell me.
like all that good stuff. So I just totally
So you
forgot.
began to do CPR on him?
Yes, yes.
About
And
what
gurgle,
time this morning did you
gurgle.
start doing that CPR?
No, it was the afternoon. It was afternoon because I was awake. But then I finally started to come downstairs at like 12:30-ish, whatever it is. And I was like, I forgot he was in the suitcase. And he wasn't moving, nothing was happening. So I unzipped him, took him out and started doing CPR on him. He was on his way over here.
He was on his way over here. I called 911. Yes, you did. After he arrived. The 911 call, I can't reiterate this enough. According to Sarah's story, she walked downstairs at 12:30. Her 911 call wasn't until 12:59 p.m. That is all.
Called you when he got here.
Once he got here, you called us?
Yes.
Okay.
And air was coming out and he was gurgling, but I could just tell by looking at him.
But you had to do CPR, you were doing that on your own?
Yes.
Okay.
And then the person that was on the phone with me also, I counted with him doing.
And he's got no medical, he doesn't take any
I
medication?
don't know, I don't know medical wise, I know he doesn't take any medications whatsoever. The only thing, like I said, I don't know if alcohol had to do with it, but we had a bottle of wine.
Okay, all right. Here, I want you to sit back down, because I don't
Can I
want
have one more sip of water?
Yes, go on.
Once again, Sarah, you can say that it was one bottle of wine all day long and twice on Sunday, okay? But ma'am, it was a magnum bottle of wine. Let's be accurate, please. Something tells me that Sarah's done that a time or two before.
Sit right here, don't talk to the ex-husband right
Oh, I
now,
won't,
okay?
I won't. Can I have a cigarette, please?
Ma'am, I can't take anything out of the house.
It's on the back porch.
Nope, all of it, secure, okay? I'll try my best to get you what you need, okay? Maybe one of these veterans has a pack from someone, sit down and I'll try and get you what you need, okay?
Just cut, please.
Okay. I don't want you on your feet. Yes, you put him outside. He came back in? So there's no thanks then?
Yes, she did, Lisa. She hung up on 911.
Hope I
They
can
called
give you
back.
the number. She's, sitting on the curb at home. I was getting ready to call you guys. Yeah. Wanna talk over here?
Your Honor, request permission to publish State 6.
You may do so.
Okay, I do want to ask this or answer this. Okay, a death rattle is something that is exactly like it sounds. It is something that occurs at the time of death. Okay, what Sarah likely heard that she attributed to gurgling is George was found, in a suitcase. He died of positional asphyxiation. So likely what happened that she heard was not really a gurgle, but when she pulled him out of the suitcase and his diaphragm and lungs, when he was, for lack of a better word, when he was unsquished, when he got to be all the way out, laid out, what she probably heard was a little bit of air that was trapped, gases. That it probably wasn't a gurgle, but a death rattle, they call it that because it occurs at the time of death. You don't hear it hours later. So it wasn't a death rattle. It was probably a release of gases from him being confined in that suitcase.
Hey Sarah, you get enough water? No, you want to stay seated. I don't want you getting lightheaded. So remember I said the detectives were gonna come out and talk to you and go from there. You know what I'm saying? They're here. They're gonna ask you a few questions and then go from there, okay? All right.
All right, Sarah, my name is Chelsea, my partner Scott. It's my understanding you reside here? Okay, is it just you, okay. Your former husband, okay. But you reside here with George and then your son lives with you or lives, there's 50/50? Yeah. Okay. So from what, has told me, she explained, last night that you guys were drinking a bottle of wine, and around midnight, you decided, you guys. Okay. You guys decided to play hide and seek.
Well, we were playing hide and seek and then.
Was your son home at the time or, okay,
No, it was mine. It was Brian.
okay,
Decided to play, we just did it like that, like. Sure. We were putting puzzles together, we were doing artwork. You can see the puzzle that we finished in there and then the artwork and then decided to play hide and seek.
I can't help but it bemuses me in a way that people continue to ask her, was your son at home, when she mentions this game of hide and seek, because everyone else has the same reaction that we all had when we heard about this case. Hide and seek, what? And I just find it like it never ceases. Every time they act, every time, even though I've seen this a million times, every time they're shocked at the hide and seek, I don't know. It's just like I relive it in my mind, the shock over and over at hide and seek. 2 adults, no children. It made no sense.
Okay. So he decided to get in the suitcase. So I thought it would be funny to, and he was talking about it too, to get him up in there. I go upstairs and he fell asleep. So this morning when I got me and I actually got up out of the bed, I thought sure he was downstairs on the laptop. Really quiet. But then I came upstairs and I'm like, where is he?
So when they go to break, I will rewind the stream a little bit and go back and we can look at Sarah's house. because to me, you're right. GD Elk, it looked like her bed wasn't slept in. Maybe she's the type of person that the minute she gets up out of bed, instantly makes it. I don't know. But it doesn't look slept in.
So I called Brian. Okay. And then as soon as he got here, which is 30 seconds on the road, I called you guys. Okay. The person on the phone had me do the concussions continually, so I can count with him until you guys shut up.
Okay. And so as part of our investigation, we obviously have to go inside the house. We have to look at things. Are you okay with us going in the house and looking at things?
Yes.
Okay. And forensics, so we have to have our forensics crime scene investigators come out. Are you also okay with them coming inside, taking photographs and? Okay.
Can I ask, is Brian, sorry, George, was he diagnosed with any kind of mental history?
Not that I know of. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't take drugs. I mean, we'll have you see him on wine here and there, but I don't know.
Well, maybe my next question. So you guys don't normally drink? You just drink once in a while, or?
Well, I'm gonna say okay, I guess normal drinking is we will have a glass of wine or two, like we're at dinner or church every year, and we'll say I'm working with him. We'll say it's in there, but it's not a
couple beers a day.
I don't understand though, for the little bit that we had, not having. I don't know if they had a heart attack or a stroke or what happened. I don't know.
So were you guys together all day yesterday?
Yes.
Okay. Here?
Yes.
Like neither of you left the apartment yesterday?
I rode up to the door to get cigarettes.
Okay.
But you can walk there.
Does he have any history? I know he doesn't now, but you said he doesn't.
I don't know.
As far as you've ever known him, you've never seen him?
No. I mean, he's from Philadelphia, and he grew up in Philadelphia, and then he went to Massachusetts, and then from Massachusetts he came down here. So I don't really know a whole lot of medical history or.
How long have you guys been together?
Almost 4 years, 3.5 years.
You guys been living here the whole time?
Yes.
He's never been to the doctor or to the hospital during that time?
He and his brother got into a really bad argument at one point and had facial reconstruction. But he has been in the hospital from that. And then I talked him into going to see a regular physician so he could get just a regular checkup thing. Yeah. But there were no red flags.
How long ago was that?
The surgery or the doctor?
Both.
The surgery, I think, was at this point, 2 years maybe, 2.5 years. The checkup was probably a good 2 years too.
Okay.
And the suitcase is still in there?
Yep, always.
Is it normally stored down there, or did you guys travel recently?
No, he was going to start picking from what do you call it? Donation in there, so that's why
it's out?
Yes.
Okay, you guys did recently travel somewhere or anything like that?
After you zipped them up, did you move the bag around and mess with them all, or you just zipped it up and walked away and laughed?
We're laughing about it, but I went upstairs and I fell asleep.
But what position was he in when you went in? Was he sitting on his rear end and his head up and he just kind of
No, okay, so this is the suitcase. This is his head and then he's right here.
So he was laying on his side?
Yes. Yes.
You just closed the flap and zipped it around?
Yes.
Okay.
I think we were cleaning.
Understand this? Okay.
So he said that I needed to tell you guys about his family. Who do I talk to about?
We're gonna do that once we walk through and see. Yeah, we're gonna.
I'm just telling you,
it's gonna be a
I'm
while.
afraid for my life. I want you to know. I am afraid for my life. His family has never I'm the blue-eyed white devil, is what they call me. So they've never liked me. They've never taken me in. They've never accepted me. I'll put it that way.
Have you called any of them?
We talked to his daughters yesterday.
No, I mean, about this.
Okay.
So no one's gonna know until we will be making that notification. So
Don't tell me.
Okay,
Do
well,
they live local?
Yes, they're down the road. They're going to tell me. His kids are going to tell me in Philadelphia. They're going to tell me. This was not intentional.
okay,
They're not going to understand that. They're not going to accept it.
we're gonna do a thorough investigation and we will definitely make sure that you don't feel scared when we leave here, okay?
And my 9-year-old.
Or he's at school and he's with your husband.
I know, well,
Ex-husband.
Your husband said that, or your ex-husband said he made arrangements for your mom to be picked up.
Oh, okay, Mom.
All right, we're going to go aside if that's
Yes,
okay.
please, but can you guys so I know what's going on?
Yes, ma'am.
And don't,
All you have to do is get their attention if you have a question, you need to talk to us. He's standing right there, she'll be right here.
yeah, okay, but will you guys tell me, like, so you're telling me, like, you won't call whoever it is without telling me, right? I mean, I have all their phone.
We're not calling, we're not making phone calls, we're actually gonna speak to them in person. We
That'll be
are.
later
They're
on.
going, okay,
It'll be
We'll know
later.
prior to us making any
I'm
calls.
not gonna be here. They're going to tell me,
Okay.
We'll address all of that, okay, before we leave, okay?
this was,
Okay? Okay. Thank you.
Just stay seated, okay, Sarah? I know you're panicking, okay? Just relax. I'm gonna talk to you. We'll keep checking on you.
While you were at the scene, did you also make contact with Brian Boone?
Yes,
Did you take a statement from him as well?
I did.
Were all your interactions with the defendant on that day captured on your body worn camera?
Yes.
I have no additional questions at this time.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
No questions, Judge.
Is this witness released?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. You're released, not subject to recall, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can the parties approach for a moment?
I can't believe there were no questions for Officer Rodriguez, only because they made such a fuss about wanting to keep that body cam footage out. And that, you know, and also I agree with you guys in chat that are talking about the tears are for herself. She's crying at the thought of his family being informed about what has happened. That's it. She's not afraid. She's not crying because George is dead. She's not, she, even on the 911 call, when they came in, the first responders, the paramedics, when they entered the apartment and they informed Sarah that there wasn't anything that they could do, that he'd been down too long, she had no reaction. There was no crying. There was no, oh my God. What are you writing, Sarah? Honestly, what are you writing? Are you writing the screenplay for the movie that is going to be made of your life? Is that what you're doing? Or has Mr. Owens asked you not to speak to him in court? If you have any questions, all your questions down on that piece of paper for him. Oh my gosh. Your Honor, I would like to make a motion that whatever the hell it is that Sarah's writing during the entirety of this trial be submitted and put on file with the Orange County Clerk of Court, uploaded for the public to see. Violet. Let me highlight this. Oh, crap. Violet said, Chandler, she's writing you a poem. Maybe she's writing, where are my 5 peppermints? Give me that. Give me my Pop-Tarts. I need my Pop-Tarts. I was told there would be Pop-Tarts. There's no Pop-Tarts. Oh, maybe she's writing non-compos mentis over and over and over. Oh my gosh.
Members of our jury, it is 3:21 at this time. We're going to go ahead and take that afternoon regularly scheduled break. I'm going to ask you to come back here in 15 minutes at 3:37. Similar instructions that I've given you previously. Please don't just conduct any independent investigation or research as the person, places, things, or charge involved, and do not have any discussions amongst yourselves or anyone else. I thank you for your service, and we'll see you shortly.
I think so, Nick. Yes, Nicholas. I don't know if I should call you Nick or Nicholas, but yes, I do think that by peppermints, that's what she's asking. The kind of peppermints that your mom always carried in her purse, you know, right next to the used, wadded up, dried tissue. Those peppermints. Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, Kathy. She's writing a new motion. Try for pretzels. Oh my goodness. Yep, squirrel, that's what it's for. Pop-Tarts for sugar and yeast. Juice boxes. Juice boxes, Pop-Tarts, sugar for the sugar and the yeast. You got your own jailhouse hooch. Ugh. Or, yes, Melanie, that's a much better description. The ones at the bottom of the Sonic bag. Yes. I haven't had Sonic in a while. Oh, thank you, Nicholas. I appreciate that. Now I'll call you Nicholas because I've been given permission to call you Nick. So, of course, my brain is like, no, it's got to be Nicholas from now on. Lord. It's the kind of professionalism and personalized care you'll get here at the ward. Welcome. Yes, let's see the house. All right, let me rewind.
All right, I guess we're gonna have to set up a crime scene now. Hold
on a minute.
Just give us a second, okay? It's on the camera.
There must be multiple times she goes in the house. Hold on. I'll find it for you guys. Don't worry.
Corporal, I can give you my name. I'm going to call you guys.
Your Honor.
I might have missed it. Hold on.
So this morning when I was down here and I actually got up out of the bed, I thought sure he was downstairs on the laptop.
At the time, that's with him. Come here. And that's the girlfriend's ex-husband. He's gonna speak it. They were playing out and go speak it, what she said. She's been doing CPR on him all morning before calling us. Yep. So I'm gonna go ahead and start making phone calls.
Okay, go ahead.
What do I do with this dog? Because I don't want him to mess with him. Come here. Oh, perfect. Okay. Yes. Here, come on, let's go outside. Come on. Come on.
Good boy.
What's up, Kitty?
You think about it,
Water is empty, but just want to make sure. I put my glove on. Touch anything.
Orange County.
There's nothing.
Hang on. I just want to go back quick and hover right here so we can see her room.
I put my glove on. Touch anything.
Orange County.
There's nothing.
All right. It does look like it's made, but not all the way made. You know what I mean? Like, look over here. I think these are like the decorative pillows. Also, Sarah, why would you have your bed up against, there's plenty of wall space. I don't care for this layout. But yeah, it does look like it's made. So sort of. It definitely doesn't, I mean. Oh wait, there was a better shot right there.
Orange County.
There's nothing. Sorry,
you guys.
Orange County.
There's nothing.
It's hard to work this skip on here. Okay, so this is a better view. I would imagine this is Sarah's side because there's a pillow there and no pillow here. I guess this would be where George normally slept. But it does, for the most part, I mean, it doesn't look like completely made, but it doesn't look like, you know, she hopped out of bed, went down the stairs, and, oh, this is concerning to me. Melanie says most evil, calculated people are not messy. I'm not messy. I try not to be anyway, mostly because maybe I'm not messy, or I don't think I'm messy because I'm the one that has to clean. I do the cleaning. So, and the picking up, and I always have. So maybe I feel like I don't even notice my own mess. I'm going to have to ask if I'm messy. All right. So there's her bed.
Right over here. Let me check this closet. So garage. There's garage.
All right, I guess we're gonna have to set up a crime scene now.
Oh,
They're supposed to be back in like 1 minute. So there's her house. Hold on. Let's see. I want to make sure I'm not missing any. The questions. Mary asks, if she appeals, will it be in an ad, help wanted? Probably. I mean, yeah, that's possible too. Lil Red says, I believe she passed out on top of the covers. Yeah, it's likely. I don't know. I think that this is going to be one of those trials where there are some questions that we're going to have left over at the end of everything that are not going to be answered. I really do. They're coming back into the courtroom now. Why does it do this? Stop. All right, let me do it like this. There we go. Maybe it won't. There it go. It keeps going. Yeah, I think that there's going to be some questions that we don't get answers to in this trial, unfortunately. I do. What I might do over the weekend is just clip that part of. I'm so sorry, Keith. I'm so sorry about that. I'm never going to do that again. Well, no, I don't want to say never because you never know. I never know what's going to come out of my mouth. So I don't want to make promises that I know that I cannot keep. But I do think, like I think what I'm going to do this weekend is clip that body cam footage and, of course, edit out. I don't want to have George in the body cam footage. I don't think it's right. But anyway, I'll clip it and see if I can't clean the footage up just a little bit, and maybe, I'll see what I can do with it and re-upload it for you guys and see, what we can do. They should be back any moment now. Yes, one of the questions that are probably going to be left unanswered is, as Jennifer says, we will never know her favorite flavor of Pop-Tart. We won't. Oh, wow, Amber, that would be exciting. Amber says, my mom just got picked for a grand jury that is predicted to last a month. Think it would be awesome. She's pretty excited about it. I would be. There, a lot. Over the course of the time that I've been watching this case and seeing what happens and all the things, waiting for this trial that seemed like it was never going to happen, I've had many different theories, but one of my newer theories is pondering if when she actually went upstairs, did she, especially after hearing there was, and I played it and it's on this channel, the Court TV did a panel and they had a forensic pathologist, I believe it was, on this on the panel, and she was talking about positional asphyxiation, and specifically under these circumstances. And she was saying that it wouldn't have taken long, moments, she said. And so I'm wondering if Sarah sat down there with that suitcase listening to George until he took his last breath. Like, did she wait for him to stop, to no longer be alive, to no longer be making any noise before she went upstairs? And I have to say, I have definitely considered that. I really do. I have definitely, and I actually think that there is a very, very strong possibility that that is what happened. But those specific questions, I do not think that we're going to get those answers. I don't think we'll ever know. And thank you, Mary, for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Thank you for supporting me and the channel. Welcome to the ward. Well, Keith says, I don't know why, but that 911 call part with the CPR made me a bit squeamish. I think now that we're here at trial, right? And now we're hearing what her defense is going to be. Putting all of it together in the context with the 911 call and just all the things that we already knew about the case. And now learning some things we didn't know about the case, like that other video that exists of her coaching George on what to say so that the charges against her get dropped. It did make me a little bit not squeamish, but it did give me the chill bumps because it's really her tone is so flat and so cold. Like she's calling 911 after finding the person she claims that she loved the most on the planet. She's been taken care of, all the things, right? And she's so flat and cold when she says, yes, hello, 911, my boyfriend's dead. It's like that, you know? It's just, it gives you the ick.
We are back on the record, case number 2020 CF 2603, State of Florida versus Sarah Boone. Let me get appearances for the state.
Dave Kester on behalf of.
Thank you, Mary, very, very much. I appreciate that. You didn't have to do that. I highlight lots of people's comments and you didn't have to do that, but I appreciate that. Thank you very much for the super chat. I appreciate that. It was very generous. Thank you. I always put I like getting you guys' comments. Yes, GDL, it is weird. It's the lack of emotion when we know that Sarah has all of the emotions. We've seen it. And the fact that she's just so, it's cold, you know? I don't know. It does. It just gives you the ick. It gives me the ick anyway.
State. William J. for the state.
Defense.
James Owens for Miss Boone.
Tony Henderson for Sarah Boone.
All right. Ms. Boone is still seated at counsel's table wearing the same black suit and pink blouse from this morning. State, anything we need to address before we bring back in our panel?
Not from the state.
Defense.
No, sir.
All right, let's go ahead and stand and we can bring back in our panel.
Get up, Sarah. I'm waiting for the evidence to come in with those text messages where she said she was going to get rid of George. Keith, Judge Kranick does, he teaches a class and a mock trial class, and these are future attorneys, and they are there to observe a trial in action. Although I will say this to the four attorneys that are standing next to Judge Kranick, Mr. Owens is a fantastic example of what you don't do as an attorney. So pay very close attention to what he does and do the opposite. Yes, she's unrestrained. She is absolutely unrestrained. No, she's not. She doesn't have the shocker. She has no restraint. She has nothing.
State, do you recognize our jury?
Yes, Your Honor.
Defense, do you recognize our jury?
Yes.
Members of the jury, again, if you could please raise your hand, showing that you complied with the court's instructions during our last break. All right, the record reflect all jurors have raised their hands. State, you may call your next witness.
State will call Deputy John Martinez.
I'm in love with the Mary Jane. She's my main squeeze.
Mr. Martinez, raise your right hand, please. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Sir, good afternoon. Can you state and spell your name for the record for us?
Deputy John Martinez, JOHNMARTINEZ.
Thank you, sir. You may be seated. Thank you.
The closed captioning is definitely with your girl over here on the struggle bus. For sure.
You may inquire, sir.
Hey, ATS. Good to
afternoon,
see you,
sir.
babe.
Good afternoon.
Tell us, who is it that you work for?
Orange County Sheriff's Office,
And what is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Deputy Sheriff.
How long have you been with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
I'm going on my 16th year.
Prior to working for the Orange County Sheriff's Office, do you have any previous law enforcement experience?
I do.
And where was that?
I first started my career with the New York City Police Department,
And how long were you with the New York City Police Department?
about 10 years.
And what was your position with the New York City Police Department?
I was a police officer.
And at the sheriff's office, tell us, what are some of your duties as a deputy sheriff?
Respond to calls of service. My primary function is the school resource officer.
And is continuing training a condition of your employment with the sheriff's office?
It is.
Tell us, how is it that you became involved in this case?
I was dispatched to this location.
And what was this location?
It was located at 4748 France Lane, apartment number 3.
And is that here in Orange County, Florida?
It is.
And when you responded to that location, who did you first come into contact with?
I came in contact with Miss Sarah Boone.
Do you see Sarah Boone here in court today?
I do.
Could you please point to her and identify an article of clothing she's wearing?
The lady sitting in the middle with the black blazer.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant?
Record will so reflect.
During the time that you were on the scene, did you have a body-worn camera?
I did.
And was that body-worn camera activated?
It was.
Enchilada sounds delicious.
Were all your
Crime crochet and
contacts
coiffé.
with Miss Boone recorded on that body-worn camera?
It was.
Were other deputies also on the scene at that time?
Yes,
And was Deputy Rodriguez there?
she was.
So would both of your body-worn cameras both captured some of the same time frames?
Correct, yes.
Did you have an occasion to go inside of the apartment?
I did.
We'd like
And
to see it.
Inside of the apartment, what observations did you make?
When I first entered the apartment, I noticed a Hispanic male laying on his back in looks like a small nook dining area. Later identified Mr. Jorge Torres.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who's been previously marked for identification as states K and been shown to defense?
You may.
Sir, I'm showing you it's been marked for identification as states K. Do you recognize that disc?
I do.
And tell us, what is that disc?
Is a copy of my body-worn camera.
I miss
And does this
enchiladas.
body-worn camera
Texas.
fairly and accurately depict the a portion of the events that took place on February 24th, 2020?
It does.
And are those your initials on the disc?
Yes, they are.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states K into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as states K will be received into evidence without objection as state 7.
Your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may. Madam Clerk, can you dim the lights?
Now, I know Court TV is going to try to do their best to turn the camera, but just be aware that it's possible that they don't turn it in time. So just, I like this a detective's voice too. I got it, Boho. Thanks, babe. I'll look in just a second, okay? What incident, Lisa? I think I missed something, babe. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Yeah, I heard about that. Yes. Oh, wow. I didn't know that part, Lisa. Wow.
She wants to say something. She wants to come on.
Don't know anything though, like why or how? So that we will not know the answer to that because we're not. So what's gonna happen? We're gonna go to the computer's office and they'll have what's called a non-talk. Yeah. That'll be first thing tomorrow morning. I'll know a lot, hopefully a lot more tomorrow morning as far as him. But I cannot, there's no way I could say how, why. So just by looking at him, like, why is he purple? That's normal when someone passes away within any concern.
The heart stops beating. So,
I'm like really scared.
Okay.
have all these evidence, so while we're here, nothing's gonna happen. Before we go and make any notifications, you'll have plenty of time to leave or do whatever you need to do, okay? We can talk about that more in time, right? Yeah, you.
But like, I don't, like, this was totally like not intentional, like, that's what I'm scared about too, like.
Boom. Not intentional.
A lot more tomorrow, like you said, what you're seeing here is common. This is us coming out. Yeah, this age, no real medical history that we know of. For those who have passed away, we cannot.
I know.
We come out to an investigation. Medical examiner office, we send you down, this is what we did. If he was 75 years old and had a heart condition, we wouldn't be here.
I don't know what it is.
Exactly, and that's what we're here to find out. We're just here to get the answers. The answers that you want, the answers that the family
I
want.
really want to see my son. I really need to see my son. I mean, I know I can't go anywhere, but right. So do I just like sit out here and wait for you guys?
Yeah, you would, yeah, please.
Anybody else have you to show up or anybody here that needs to be here? My team's here that needs to be here. The medical examiners will show up when we call them, but we're not ready for them yet. So they're gonna take him, they're gonna take some photos, take him, but that's towards the end of it. And they'll be called well in advance when we're ready for them, but we're not ready for them at this point. So we won't be calling them quite yet. Okay? So like I said, I gotta go do some paperwork. They're gonna chat.
with some people, and then we're gonna come back and talk to you if you're okay with that. So just give us a little bit more time, like I said, and you don't do that.
So, like, do you guys tell his family, like, today or after tomorrow?
You have to. Our investigation is pretty much complete here. Once we leave here, we will be knowing.
But again, we'll know. I'm not gonna just go into it without you knowing, you'll know. We'll talk to you about it, anything like that.
But how, I mean, I understand what you guys and how you do it, and, you know, so, but like, what are you just telling us? What do you tell his parents? Like, what's the reason as to why?
We tell them what we know about them. We tell them the truth.
And that we're gonna be waiting for the autopsy results, and I will get the autopsy in the morning. And hopefully the doctor will be able to give me some of what they think and see.
We'll give them their number, they can contact them, you know.
So yeah, they're gonna know what we're here, what we're investigating, and that
They're gonna think I feel them. They always have said that. They've always have said that.
It's both, Neat Noodle, both.
Because I'm the blue-eyed white dragon, that's what they call me. Because they don't want him with me. So he's basically just not really been around his family because he chooses me over them. Even after I encouraged him numerous times to go there and see his family.
Do you have somewhere safe that you can go tonight?
Both my parents are deceased, my grandparents are deceased, my aunt and uncle are deceased. I got notice. I have a brother that's in the Marines, and I got another one that's in jail.
Unless you run it, that's Marine local?
No. Well, he in Altamont, but I think he's doing whatever Marine he's doing. But the only way.
Your phone's inside, correct?
Yes.
Does he have a phone?
No.
He doesn't.
He used my phone.
He uses your
Yeah,
phone.
the sheriff. So the only place I could go is over to Brian's house. So I don't think I have a problem with it. So,
Well, like I said, we're not gonna leave here. If you do not feel safe, you're not gonna leave here if you do not feel safe. And then we're like,
and then I in Philadelphia.
well, she's in Philadelphia, because.
It's both. And that's what makes MK Land a national treasure.
We're talking like days and weeks. No, I'm talking right here, right now. So let me do my investigation. Let me go do the paperwork that I'm talking about, because we can go back and forth about what it's like all day long.
I know, so
I promise we're not gonna leave here for you and you not feel safe. Right?
please. I don't even know what to tell you. It's okay. Just
Again, let me just pause quickly for commentary and fair use. You see what she's telling the cops, right? The detectives. Her fear is of George's family, not of George, of George's family. This was unintentional, over and over and over again.
Take a seat, have some water, give us a few minutes, let us do our thing, and we'll be back to talk to you, I promise, okay?
Let them know.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. Okay.
You have anyone in there?
There's nobody here, just me.
Okay, that's fine. You're right there. Right?
Yeah.
Sit there and take your fine. I have relief coming, so just wait there.
No further questions.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
No, sir.
Can this witness be released?
Yes, Sean.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. You're released, not subject to recall. Thank you.
Thank you.
Aw, thank you. Squirrel, I appreciate that.
State, you may call your next
I
witness.
do care.
State would call Melissa Roughgarden.
Oh, not exactly sure who that is. I think it might be the paramedic on scene, but I can't remember for sure. I'll know when I see her. It is not ringing any bells.
Ma'am, good afternoon. Can you state and spell your name for the record for us?
Melissa Roughgarden,
Oh.
Melissa.
I know who she is.
Ghgar.
I believe she is the forensics that is substituting for the person who actually did forensics in this case, because the person who actually did forensics in this case was not available. That's who this is, I believe.
Den.
Thank you. Counselor, you may inquire.
Ma'am, who do you work for?
I'm employed with the Orange County Sheriff's Office.
And what is your position with the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
Currently, I am a forensic biologist with the forensics unit. Prior to this, I was a crime scene investigator for 5 years.
Look at me.
And how long in total?
Hold on a minute. I'm going to have to toot my own horn. Toot, toot. I remembered. Y'all don't know what a struggle that is. I have been forgetting a lot of things lately, things that I used to know very well.
With the Orange County Sheriff's Office?
About 6.5 years.
And tell us all the positions you've held during that time.
Those two, a crime scene investigator and a forensic biologist.
Let's turn to your work as a crime scene investigator. What does a crime scene investigator do?
We respond to crime scenes. We photograph and document those crime scenes through photographs, notes, and sometimes sketches. We collect evidence, we process the scene, and then we do further processing to the evidence back at our forensics lab.
When you say process,
Toot, toot for everybody. Y'all toot your horns too. Toot, toot.
It depends on the scene and the evidence, but it includes the photographs. We also take swabs for potential DNA. We can also do testing for possible blood and things like that. We also process for latent fingerprints, among other things.
what type of training did you need in order to become a crime scene investigator?
Upon being hired with the sheriff's office as a CSI,
I just want to take a moment really quick here. MK, I think that you should be in charge over there at Court TV. You know, when they do the just the name and the descriptor under the witness now, I think you should be in charge of writing the name and the description under the witness's name. This is the lady who got the pictures of her deplorable carpet. Oh, MK Lan. Never stop being you.
Were you working in this capacity as a CSI on February 24th, 2020?
yes, I was.
And tell us, where did you respond out to on that day?
I responded to 4748 France Court, Apartment 3.
And is that in Orange County, Florida?
Yes, it is.
And when you responded to that scene, whom did you make contact with?
I made contact with the homicide detective, Chelsea Kepsel.
Did you receive information from the detective?
Yes, that it was a death investigation.
Did you walk the scene with the detective?
Yes.
And tell us, what does it mean to walk the scene with the detective in a homicide?
We go into the scene and just observe. We don't interact with anything and discuss what we see.
When you walked this scene, did you see Jorge Torres?
Yes, I did.
And where was he located?
He was located on the floor in the living room of the apartment.
True that, Mary. True that. Sometimes it's good to
Did
toot your horn.
you,
Toot, toot.
with the detective, identify potential items of evidence to be collected?
Yes.
You had mentioned previously about documenting scenes with photographs. Was that done in this case?
Yes, it was.
Now, this is the part I like to pay attention to because, excuse me, there will probably be photographs that we're not going to be shown. Okay. Obviously, there will be some that we will be, but it's, to me, this is very telling. I'm curious as to what Sarah's going to do here. Will she watch intently as she appears to be doing right now? Will she avert her eyes? I feel like we need to come up with a little song. What will Sarah do? What will Sarah do?
Your Honor, may I approach the witness who's been marked for identification as States M and been shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm showing you who's been marked for identification as States M. Can you take a look at the contents of State M to yourself and tell me if you recognize the items contained within States M? Do you recognize the contents of States M?
Yes, I do.
Tell us, what is the contents of State M?
They are photographs I took on the crime scene.
Do they fairly and accurately represent how that crime scene appeared on February 24th, 2020?
Yes, they do.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as States M into evidence.
How many photographs are there? Do you have a total?
111.
No objection.
All right. What was pre-marked as States M will be received into evidence without objection as States 8.
Owens, why are you playing like you were really going to object? Stop playing with these people. Come on, man. And Mr. Cacciatore, I know you have a briefcase over there. Could you please put your keys out of your pocket and into the briefcase? It looks uncomfortable.
You may.
Mary Jane, yes, babe. They probably will show photos, but not all photos. Like Court TV will avert the camera. Oh, Griffey Bear, I'm glad you're out of the hospital. You haven't missed anything. This is just the very first day of testimony. We just got here. We had opening statements this morning and a little bit of testimony, and now we're wrapping up about an hour or so, probably maybe an hour and a half of day left maybe in the testimony for the first day. So you haven't missed anything, but I'm glad you're back and I'm glad you're out of the hospital and I hope you're feeling better.
And I'm first going to publish to you as part of States M picture 4. Tell us, what is this?
This is the front door to the residence.
Stage 5.
This is also the front door of the residence, just a closer image to the door.
When you enter the residence, what is the first area just off to the right of the front door?
That would be the
Hey,
kitchen.
Tommy, good to see you.
Showing
Welcome
you
in.
North to states 11.
Yes, so this is just inside the door. To the right, there is the kitchen area.
Showing you states 14.
Yes.
What is this a photo of?
So this is the counter with the sink in the kitchen. And there's also the open area just above where you can see into the living room.
Showing you from states composite, photo 19.
Yes.
What is this?
This is a hutch inside the kitchen. You can see in the background, that is where that first photo of the kitchen was taken. So that's the entryway. And then this is the hutch, and there is a cell phone on the hutch in the kitchen.
Showing you states 22.
This is the trash can in the kitchen. You can also see the hutch we were just looking at there on the side.
States 23.
This is the contents of the trash can. You can see 2 wine bottles on the top of the trash.
Did you also find receipts in that trash can as well?
Yes.
Photo 25 from the composite.
These are those same wine bottles and 3 Publix receipts that were removed from the trash can.
Did you take these items and collect them into evidence in this case?
Yes, I did.
Photo 32 from the composite.
Yes, this is just in further into that entryway. You can see the living room.
Photo 35 from the composite.
This is another photo of the living room. You can see the victim located on the floor and a suitcase in the bottom corner of the photograph.
36.
This is another photograph in the living room. This is that wall we saw in the kitchen there with the opening. You can also see a wooden baseball bat leaning against the wall.
Was that baseball bat collected into evidence in this case?
Yes, it was.
Photo 38.
This is, excuse me. This is also a photograph of the living room, just the other side of the room.
Photo 43 from the composite.
Yes. This photograph was taken in the living room. You can see the stairs leading to the second floor.
Photograph 45.
This is a photograph of the living room just from the other side of the room. You can see the front door in the middle back of the photo.
No, and I'm glad that he's not taking any chances. I don't think it would be helpful to us to see that, or the general public, really.
Photo 49 from the composite.
This is a more close-up photograph of the suitcase.
Photo 50.
This is a photograph of one of the zippers on the suitcase.
Mr. and Miss Camera Operator person, could you please pan over to Sarah? We want to see her reaction.
Photograph 51.
This is a close-up picture of that same zipper. There is no zipper pull on it. It appeared to be a small wire of some sort, the pink wrapped around the zipper. This is the zipper on the other side of the suitcase.
Just for the record, that's photograph 52.
Well, Lisa, she's ruined Pop-Tarts for me, quite frankly. So
The close-up image of that same zipper. There is also no zipper pull on that one.
that hole looks very, very small, you guys. I don't even know how that could be even.
54 from the composite.
This is the contents of the suitcase after just lifting the lid.
Photo 56 from the composite.
More of a close-up image of the items. There were miscellaneous papers and paperwork, some clothing items, and apparent blood inside the suitcase.
Hold on a minute.
What items?
Hold on a minute before she goes on, because this is just to refresh everybody's memory, including mine. Okay. Let me answer Maria really quickly. Maria, so there is an order of sequestration. George's younger brother, Juan, took the stand. He was the first witness for the state. The witnesses are not allowed to be in the courtroom unless they're released from, unless they've already testified, and after they've testified, they're released from their subpoena. So at this point, it doesn't appear that anybody is. Oh, have fun on your drive to LAX, Jennifer. Have a safe trip. So I don't know if they're there. But remember what the whole intent and purpose for the suitcase even being downstairs was. Remember, they were using it because there were items that they were giving away. Now, if you were giving away items, okay, you're getting rid of them, you were going to donate them, why in the actual F would you have paperwork in there? I need to know more about this paperwork.
What apparent blood was
and apparent blood inside the suitcase.
what items, what apparent blood was inside the suitcase?
It was observed on the white cap and a necktie, and there was also visible blood just on the interior of the suitcase.
Photo 57 from the composite.
The contents of the suitcase, but you can see the white cap more clearly and the blood observed on it.
.58 from the composite.
You can see the necktie with blood. It appeared to be silver multicolored. And then there's also a diazepam syringe in the plastic casing there. It was prescribed to the victim.
Wait a minute. Espera. I missed that. Hold on a second.
And then there's also a diazepam syringe in the plastic casing there. It was prescribed to the victim.
Hold up. Why would that be in the suitcase? Was George packing to leave Sarah? Is that what this is really about? Now, I know we've all wondered about this, but I didn't want to, I wasn't going to I wasn't going to ask any questions or draw any potential conclusions or inferences until I knew for sure what was in that suitcase. And now I'm really, really wondering. Also, thank you, Mary Jane, for the super sticker. Mary Jane says, thank you for covering for us. I've been keeping up with this case since 2021. I'm glad to be here with you guys. Awesome family here. Thank you, Mary Jane. We're glad to have you here, babe. Thanks for being with us. This is very odd contents of a suitcase that was intended to hold things intended for donation. Maybe I'm new to things and how things have changed. You know, I'm an old head over here at 4'7", almost going to be 4'8" in next month. No, in January, not next month. I got a minute. But do you all, when you get things together, items to donate, do you frequently put your prescription, parts of your prescription in a suitcase designated as items for donation? Because I'm real confused here. Yes, Crime Crochet and Coiffe, they were the whole reason that the suitcase was out in the first place, according to Sarah, is that when they were cleaning the apartment earlier that afternoon, Sunday, they had been going through things and were getting things together to donate the unwanted items, and they were putting them in that suitcase. This makes no damn sense, y'all. It ain't made sense from the beginning, and it doesn't make sense now. What is happening?
Photo 61 from the composite.
That is the miscellaneous papers and paperwork that was removed from the suitcase.
Photo 62 from the composite.
That's the suitcase after all of the items were removed.
Some doesn't feel right, Sean.
Yes, that is what appeared to be some like small pieces of paper that appeared to be soaked with blood.
Is this inside of the suitcase?
Yes.
I'm going to have to do some more on this. Thinking. I'm going to have to think on this a minute.
Photo 65 from the composite.
That is the baseball bat that was leaning against the wall in the living room.
Photo 68 from the composite.
This is back to the stairs to the second floor in the living room.
Photo 69 from the composites.
So it's moving closer to the stairs to the second floor.
And the reason why I'm wondering about these things is why would there be a syringe? I know not everybody can take diazepam is a benzodiazepine. So it's used to treat all kinds of things. Anxiety. They prescribe benzodiazepams to like my youngest daughter, Minnie Bindi, when she was a itty bitty, when she was a baby, she had a febrile seizure, and I had to give her a quarter of a quarter milligram of clozapam when she would get a fever to prevent febrile seizures, because benzodiazepams control brain activity. They slow brain activity. So I'm curious why this was. I'm curious why George was on it. What his and Sarah said he wasn't prescribed any medication that she knew of. And so what I'm curious about here is I'm not even judging why he was on it. He clearly was on it. And benzodiazepams are not something that you can just stop taking. You have to be titrated down. The withdrawals are very bad. But my point being is I am now starting to rethink things. I'm very curious about why because if I remember correctly, his talk screen was negative for a benzo.
Photo 70 from the composite.
Photographing more of the staircase. These are the steps leading to the second floor before I proceed up to the second floor.
This is photo 71 for the record. Photo 72 from the composite.
The upper portion of the stairs leading to the second floor.
How many bedrooms were on the second floor of the unit?
There were 2 bedrooms.
Photo 75 from the composite. What is this?
This is the hallway. You can see a closet in the hallway and then the door to one of the bedrooms.
Does this appear to be a child's room?
Yes, it did.
Photo 79 from the composite.
This is a photograph within the child's bedroom.
Photo 86 from the composite.
This is the door leading to the other bedroom upstairs.
Did this other bedroom also contain a bathroom?
Yes, it did.
Photo 90 from the composite.
This is the bed within that bedroom.
Photo 97 from the composite.
This is the bathroom.
In that master bedroom upstairs.
Yes.
Did you also have an occasion to photograph the defendant?
Yes, I did.
You see the defendant here in court today.
Yes, I do.
Could you please point to them and identify an article of clothing they're wearing?
She is right there with a black blazer and a pink shirt.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant?
Record so reflect.
Showing you photo 98 from the composite.
This is the photograph I took of the defendant.
Why is it that you are photographing the defendant at this point?
I collected her buccal swabs, which is a DNA standard from the inside of the mouth, and it is part of our procedure to photograph that person for identification purposes.
Do you also document the rest of her body as well at that time?
Yes, I did.
Publishing photograph 101 from State's Composite.
This is a photograph of her hands facing upward.
Photograph 102.
This is her right hand facing upward.
Photograph 103.
Her left hand facing upward.
Photograph 104.
Both of her hands facing downward, so the tops of her hands.
Photograph 105.
This is her right hand facing downward.
Photograph 106.
And her left hand facing downward.
Photograph 107.
This would be of her right arm.
Photograph 108.
Her left arm.
2109.
Her right arm with it facing upward.
Photograph 110.
Her left arm with her arm facing upward.
During the time you were interacting with the defendant, did she ever indicate to you that she had any injuries?
No.
You had previously testified that you also collected physical items of evidence from the home as well, in this case.
Yes, I did.
Your Honor, may I approach the witness what's been marked for identification as state C and been shown to defense?
You may.
Ma'am, I'm assuming it was marked for identification as state C. Can you take a look at that package for me?
Yes.
Do you recognize that package?
Yes, I do.
And tell us, what is that package?
These are the 2 wine bottles that were collected from the trash can.
Is your name on that package?
Yes, my name is on the Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence label that I filled out, and my initials are on the evidence seal from when I sealed the package.
And it also has your agency case number and the location information for this case.
Yes, that is correct.
Ma'am, could you open the contents of states C and look at it to yourself?
I am absolutely flabbergasted by this situation with the contents of the suitcase. I'm a little verklempt right now. Like I don't know what there's something else. Something else was going on that night in that apartment that had, I think, nothing to do with hide and seek. And y'all know me, I always take a wait and see approach. And this is why I love trials, because as many times as I've talked about that interrogation video, all the things all the letters, all the things, all Sarah.
You have to pull them out to recognize the item. They're wrapped in paper.
Sure, just how the view from before.
I just, oh, thank you, Pame. Or Pame, I don't know how to say your name. I'm sorry if I mispronounced it. I'm glad that there are family members there for George. Nicholas, I didn't see this coming either.
What is the contents of state C?
These are the 2 wine bottles that I collected from the trash can.
Are these wine bottles in the same or substantially the same condition as they were at the time that you packaged them on February 24th, 20?
Oh, sorry. So to recap for Scott, who just got back, Scott, there was, we knew about like the white baseball cap, but there was a syringe of diazepam, and I need to go back to check and see if it was empty or not. I think she said empty. Apparently, George, it was a prescription of George's, which is interesting considering that Sarah said he was not on any prescriptions. Sorry, you guys, I got a little tickle in my throat. There were clothes a necktie, a white cap. But I think the surprising thing is that there was paperwork in the suitcase. And the suitcase, if you'll remember, was, excuse me, the suitcase was, according to Sarah, the whole reason it was even out of the closet and downstairs is because they were placing items to be given, to be donated in the suitcase. Who donates paperwork? Something is not right. Mm-mm-mm. Something is not right here.
2020?
Yes, the same time I collected them that day.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as states C into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
Hey,
What
Craig,
was
Craig, good
pre-marked
to
as
see
state
you.
C will be received into evidence as states 9 without objection.
And Your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may do so.
You can unwrap it now.
And you know what? While she's doing this, I'm just going to mute it. What I was, I was looking in the chat, and they say, obviously they say that the most dangerous time for an abuse victim is when they go to leave their abuser. And they also say that a domestic violence victim leaves tries to leave 7 to 10 times before they're actually successful. And now I'm starting to wonder if some of the DV that was going on in that home where George was arrested and then Sarah was, going back to get him. Now I almost wonder if there were times when George tried to leave, and perhaps maybe this was his last attempt at leaving. I don't even know what to say, y'all. I'm going to have to really process this.
Did you also have occasion to collect the baseball bat from the living room?
Yes, I did.
Hey, Steph sells stuff by the seashore. Please thumbs up for the most human of humans on the tubes. Thank you.
As states B and shown to defense?
You may.
She also said that George didn't have a phone. See, I remember back when I was having a live not long ago and I was talking about this, about George and the power dynamic, and he didn't have a phone, but then he did have a phone. It just didn't have service. And I'm now, after listening to the body cam footage again for the 11th billionth time, where they asked her if he had a phone, and she said no, but he did.
Does this item have your name on it?
Yes, it has my name on the Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence label that I filled out, as well as my initials on the evidence seal.
And it also has your initials and your agency case number as well.
Yes, it does.
His
And
brother
open
get me a
state
snap.
B and look at the contents
We're not sure
of
which
it,
one.
To yourself without displaying it to the court.
Yes.
So they did bring the neighbors, Mary Jane, their direct neighbors, Brandon and Vinny, were on the stand this morning. And they're the ones that told the detectives about the arguing. But more importantly, they told the detectives about the loud crash going down the stairs that they'd heard, or somewhere between 10:30 and 11 that night. And they were on the stand this morning, the ones that Mr. Owen said, I can't locate, I can't find them. They were on the stand. Mm-hmm. They testified to arguments. They testified just exactly the way that they gave their statements. They really did. Almost pretty close to verbatim. Really, they did. I talked about hearing the arguing, the raised voices, Sarah being asleep on the porch or the patio.
Contained within states B.
The wooden baseball bat.
And is that bat in the same or substantially the same condition as it was at the time that you collected it on February 24, 2020?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's previously been marked for identification as States B into evidence.
Any objection?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as B will be received into evidence as States 10 without objection.
He also testified about the time that Sarah, gave him the first verse from My Name is Luca. If you hear something late at night, some kind of trouble, some kind of fight, mind your business, basically, not to call the cops. Mm-hmm.
Your Honor, request permission to publish.
You may.
Thank you, Kentucky Lee. I appreciate that. I appreciate that, babe. Thanks for looking out. It's hard to do all of the things. Also, I wish they would do this kind of testimony in the morning when everybody's bright and awake and had their coffee. I'm full of Cheez-Its now and want Mimi's. Yep, just don't ask me what it was. And to the people in the chat who are telling their stories, thank you for sharing. I'm glad you got out. I'm glad you're
had an
safe.
occasion to
Nobody
collect the
deserves to be
suitcase
abused.
as well in this case.
Yes, I did.
Prior to placing the suitcase into evidence, did you process it?
I took measurements of the suitcase.
What are the measurements of the suitcase?
It was 28 inches in length, 20 inches wide, and 8 7/8 inches deep.
Wow.
Your Honor, at this time, may the witness step down from the stand and approach the clerk's area.
Yes.
Oh God, they're going to identify the suitcase.
Ma'am, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification as States A. Tell me, do you recognize this item? Tell us, what is this item?
This is the suitcase I collected from the living room.
And how is it that you know that this is a suitcase you collected from the living room?
It has the Orange County Sheriff's Office evidence label that I labeled with the item description. It also contains my name and the agent's case number, and my initials are also on the evidence tape.
Ma'am, at this time, could you open States A and look at the contents of it to yourself?
I think I can agree with Nunya with respect to Mexican men. I am a Mexican woman, and I don't think Mexican men would tell either. I don't. And that makes me sad. She really, the look on her face when she turned back is like any other
What
day
is
that we've seen
inside
her in
of
court.
States A?
This is the suitcase I collected from the living room.
And does it appear to be in the same or substantially the same condition as the time that you collected it and placed it into evidence?
Yes.
Your Honor, at this time, I'd like to move what's been marked for identification as States A into evidence.
Any objections?
No objection.
What was pre-marked as A will be received into evidence without objection as States 11.
Y'all, this heifer is
Your Honor, at this time,
completely
I ask for
unfazed.
Permission to publish States A to the jury.
You may.
She does not give a rat's fat kneecap what they're about to pull out. She doesn't care. Look at her.
Can you vote on
Yes.
the side of it?
She's smiling, laughing, being girl. Now, look at this poor crime scene tech struggling with the zipper, but somehow George was supposed to unzip it from the inside. You suck, Boone. It's much smaller. Much smaller. Good job, Owens, telling the jury that it was a huge suitcase, because now they can see. Oh, his family in the courtroom, bless their hearts.
How easy is it to operate the zipper that closes the suitcase?
It was a little difficult.
And you had full range of motion.
I
Just
have
like
no
Sarah
additional
had full
questions
range
at
of
this time.
motion.
Thank you. Any cross-examination?
Yes, Your Honor.
Oh, here we go. Let's see what they have to ask.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Are you also referred to as a medical examiner investigator as opposed to just crime scene investigator?
No, that is not my title.
Do you do reports that the medical examiner necessarily relies upon in the process of doing the autopsy and additional investigations?
You would have to ask them.
Who makes the decision at the scene as to what items will be photographed and what items will be taken into custody, what items will necessarily be tested or analyzed?
That's a collaborative effort between the crime scene investigator and the lead detective while on scene.
That would be yourself, and who was the lead detective?
The lead detective was Chelsea Kepsel.
Now, you authored a report in this matter, did you not?
Yes,
And that report was utilized, if you in fact know, by the medical examiner in developing her autopsy report, was it not?
I do not know.
In your report, did you advise the medical or whomever might read your report that in fact the body had been removed from the suitcase by first offenders or first responders?
No, I don't believe so.
And we know that you have the capacity to do DNA analysis, correct?
No, we process DNA or collect swabs for DNA, and then that's submitted to the Florida Department of Law Enforcement for conventional DNA analysis.
So you did that with a sample from the inside of Sarah Boone's mouth.
Her buccal swabs were submitted to the FDLE.
And who made that decision?
The detective and I.
Who made the decision not to bother to do a DNA analysis on the blood from the items within the suitcase or the suitcase itself?
That was a discussion between the detective and I.
And you chose not to do that.
No, we did not.
You assumed that the blood inside the suitcase belonged to Jorge Torres, correct?
There was blood observed in the suitcase.
You don't know who that belonged to because you didn't bother to analyze it or have it analyzed, correct?
The blood was not tested.
Now, State's Exhibit B, the bat, you took that into evidence. Was that again a collaborative decision by yourself and the lead detective?
Yes.
And what efforts did you make to have the bat analyzed, given the fact that it was apparently evidence?
It was just collected as evidence from the scene.
Did you advise either the lead detective or anybody else involved with this investigation that there may be matters that could be analyzed when analyzing the bat that would help or assist in the investigation of this matter?
It's my job to do the documentation and the collection of evidence.
Well, you said it was a collaborative effort between yourself and the lead detective, so did you participate in that decision?
We chose to collect the bat and put it into evidence.
And so there was a fiber analysis done on the bat to determine whether or not it was used to strike Jorge Torres when he was in the suitcase. Was there not?
Pardon?
In fact, there was not, was there? There was no effort to analyze bat.
I'm going to object. I don't believe the witness had an opportunity to answer the question.
Sustained.
I'm sorry. Please.
Can you repeat the question?
If I can remember it, I will. Do you know?
You wrote it
that there was
down.
any effort made in this particular investigation, the investigation of Sarah Boone, to analyze the bat for fibers?
No, there was not.
And why was that not done?
It was not done.
You indicated that you had some interaction with Ms. Boone. Is that correct?
I collected her buccal swabs.
Did you speak with her?
In collecting her buccal swabs, yes.
Did you speak to any other witnesses?
No.
Did you make any determination of other matters that might be of import or evidentiary value when you were going through the house and taking photographs and documenting the interior of the townhouse?
You'll have to be more specific.
Well, how many pictures of the child's bedroom did we see?
Here today,
Yes, ma'am.
we saw the entrance to the bedroom as well as a photograph of the interior of the bedroom.
What was the evidentiary value of that?
It's my job to photograph and document while on scene, so the rooms in the upstairs were photographed and documented.
Did you photograph holes in the wall, possibly made by the victim?
I don't recall photographing holes in the wall, no.
Did you take photographs of items in the house or throughout the house that may have depicted incidents of prior violence?
You'll have to be more specific.
How about bloody pillowcases? Did you make any effort to collect and analyze pillowcases of the rooms that you were photographing?
No.
Who made, you have significant experience with zippers?
I use zippers regularly, yes.
Enough to have an opinion as to whether or not a zipper is stuck or not.
Is what? Sorry?
You testified on direct that the zipper was a little tight.
Just that it was difficult without the zipper pulls to use the zipper.
And that was your opinion.
She was asked her opinion.
Yes, from opening the suitcase here today.
Today, you only tested it today?
Pardon?
You only today have for the first time tested the ability to pull open the zipper on the suitcase?
No, I'm saying it was difficult today.
A redirect examination.
Wow.
In this case, you documented the entirety of the house as you saw.
I'm going to stop. Hang on
Yes.
just a second.
So every room in the house.
So let's keep this in perspective here, okay? What this witness is testifying to is there is a collaborative effort between herself and the lead detective about what evidence she documented the whole house. As far as going further than that, opening drawers, things like that, a lot of that decision making is based upon what they see at the scene and witness statements at the scene, including Sarah Boone. Okay. What did Sarah Boone tell the detectives when they arrived on scene and the first responders? It was a good day. I don't know what happened. We were playing. Nobody was fighting. Nobody was putting hands on one another. All of those things. Now, why in the actual F do you think that it would come to the detective's mind to start opening drawers and pulling things out from linen closets if there was no visible blood on any of the pillows? They were right out there in the open. Come on. Give this lady a break. Rude.
They were all taken overall photographs.
Walls in the house.
In the overall photographs, yes, they weren't all individually photographed, no.
And you did not document or note any type of holes in the wall or any type of damage to the walls, anything like that.
Not the walls, no.
Is that something that would have been documented both photographically and also within your report?
Yes.
Yeah.
You also, as we've previously seen in the composite, saw the victim where he was laying in this case, correct?
Yes.
Was the victim, did he have blood on his mouth and on his face?
Yes, he did.
Did he have open wounds on his body?
There was blood coming from his nose and his mouth. There was also some other areas of like defects noted on his body.
Interesting. There was blood coming from his nose and his mouth. Yet, did Sarah have blood on her clothes anywhere? I didn't see any blood on her clothes. I didn't see any blood on her face. I mean, it's possible that she could have washed it off, but surely, if you're laying down giving CPR, blood as a liquid, just generally speaking, tends to not stay in one position. Further evidence that she didn't try to give him CPR.
You also made contact with the defendant too, as well.
Yes.
Did you note any other wounds or cuts?
I'm sure it did quote Bone Kiki. Rude.
That was not documented that you haven't testified to?
No.
So no wounds, nothing on her?
Not that I recall, no.
No further questions?
Thank you. Can this witness be released?
Yes, Your Honor.
Fantastic.
Can this witness be released?
Judge, we'd like her to be on call.
Oh my
Thank you for your comment.
God.
Thank you. Can the parties approach?
Recall her for what? What are you going to blame her for now? Rat Finks. All right, you guys, I think they're done for the day. I don't think we missed anything. Yeah. I think that's it. Wow. Well, thank you guys all for being here. I must confess, I can't say it enough. I keep saying it. I think it's just because I'm so shocked about it. But I did not, I knew that there was the white cap. I knew that there were some items of clothing, and I knew that there was a necktie in the suitcase with Sarah, or with George, excuse me. But I did not realize that there was a syringe. She said a syringe containing diazepam. And I'm thinking that her terminology, her use of the word containing, to me, I'll go back and listen to it to make sure, but to me that implies that it was not a used syringe, that it still had diazepam in it, and there was paperwork. I just can't see the logic in giving away Sarah's, and this is why, because remember the fuss that Sarah made about when she got her discovery, and she wanted the paper. She had to have the paper. She wanted the paper. They gave it to her. And then when she got the paper wasn't good enough. Her physical discovery wasn't good enough. No. She needed somewhere to go that was private, because she was very worried about the details of her case getting out, the sensitive nature, right? I feel like she wouldn't just be willy-nilly putting paperwork in a suitcase. if you keep paperwork, that usually implies it has some significance. It has some importance, some type probably of identifying information, something you need, some documentation of some sort. You would not put that in a suitcase full of items that you were intending to donate. There's something is missing here. I don't know what that paperwork was. I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen a lot closer to her description of the paperwork. Because this is not making sense to me. And I'm not judging. I just want to make this clear. It doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter to me what the prescription, the syringe, if it was, whether it was insulin or something else, some other prescription. That's not the point is that it's in a suitcase among items. And the intention of the suitcase was to hold items that they were collecting that were to be donated. That's the point. It doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter to me what was in that syringe. I'm only saying what was in it because they said what was in it. That's like neither here nor there. The contents of the syringe matter not to me. It is the fact that it was in there. It is the fact that it was in there with paperwork, and the story that we were told from Sarah Boone was that they were using that suitcase to hold items that they intended to give away, to donate. That makes no sense to me. And so something is amiss here. And now I'm going to have to go back and listen to it and look more carefully. I'm not sure that George was off probation at that time, Lisa. I think I have to go back and listen to Sarah's. I don't think there was a way that he could be off probation, and here's why. Because the incident that caused him to be on probation in the first place happened at the end of 2019, and he was murdered at the beginning of 2020. And typically probation is no less than a year. So I'm thinking that whatever the paperwork was probably belonged to George. And maybe it was paperwork from his classes, but I do think it was, they did belong to George. And so I think that see the incident that we watched on the body cam footage where, I'm going to go back and look. Let me not say that because I am tired. I've been up since like 5 o'clock this morning. I'm tired and I've had no nap, and I got a tummy full of Cheez-Its, so I'm a little sleepy. So let me not say anything. Let me check on this stuff, and I will have a full report ready to go Monday when we resume court. Diazepam is not Xanax. Diazepam is Valium. Xanax, the off-brand name for Xanax is alprazolam. That's the off-brand for Xanax. Diazepam is Valium. Clozapam is, I forget what that is. It's like clozidine or something like that. Ativan, the generic form is lorazepam. So, yeah, diazepam is Valium. But, they all kind of work in the same way. Yes, clozapam is Klonopin. Thank you. I couldn't remember what I say. Yeah, Klonopin. And then what else is there? There's another benzo, temazepam, but I cannot remember what the brand name of temazepam is for. I know, Neat. I definitely needed to watch a little bit of that today. Well, you know, what's interesting about that, Kimberly says it would never be prescribed that way to the public. The crime scene tech said that the victim, these were her words, this is how she said it, the victim was had a prescription, that this was prescribed to the victim. So, okay, I agree with you here when Lisa says, so why would it matter about blood testing? That was his stuff and blood gone on it by being in the suitcase. See, that I agree with that. I think the point was from the defense is that, you know, why didn't they test it? It could have been Sarah's blood. Maybe she was injured. And they didn't want to press her on that too much. They just wanted to make her look like incompetent in front of the jury. They didn't really have a point with that, and they couldn't have a point with that because from Sarah's own statements, also she was photographed. She had no injuries. So why would they think the blood was hers? Sarah's never been put in that suitcase and kept captive in it by George. Ridiculous. Yes, I covered Ativan, babe. Lorazepam is Ativan. So that they are, there's something else going on here, and I'm very, very highly anticipating what the state has, what the state's forensic psychiatrist who evaluated Sarah Boone. I'm very interested in that testimony. I think I'm more interested in that testimony than I am in Sarah's own forensic psychiatrist. Yeah. So, Scott, you know, there's been a lot of scuttlebutt regarding her potentially putting her son in the suitcase. I was sent a link to a YouTube channel that covered this. And to me, what that channel showed was a photograph, but the photograph is actually of Brian with the suitcase, not Sarah. So I can't actually say who did that, right? It appears that Sarah is the one taking the picture, but Brian is standing with the suitcase. Yeah. Now, I will say this, respective to the opening statements. The thing about opening statements that's tricky is the jury is instructed that opening statements are not evidence. They're statements that each side gives about what they expect the evidence to show. And Mr. Owens expected the evidence to show that this was a huge suitcase. It's a rather large suitcase, I believe, were the words that he used. And yet the suitcase comes out, and not only are the dimensions of the suitcase given, but the jury gets a visual of the suitcase. It was, what, 8 inches deep, 20 by 27 inches? Isn't that what it was? So I am, you know, that was a I don't know why. I mean, this is the thing. Some people, some people are not good with like seeing the dimensions of an item. I did not do well at geometry, which is weird because I'm like a champ at Tetris. And I'm actually good with spatial relations, like, like if you have a small space, being able to organize things where it fits neatly, that I'm good at. But as far as like, if I recently, like last summer, I think it was, I ordered a cat tree for the cats. Okay. Let me show you the cats, which we're talking about, because you need to see this visual. Okay. Alice is a small potato. This business over here, that's Mac, is no small potato. Okay. And they showed a picture of the cat tree. To me, it looked like it was going to be just fine, right? This thing is for kittens, y'all, clearly. So I am clearly not good with dimensions. So the fact that Owens might not be good with spatial relations, if it were me and I was given the opening statement, you know what I would have done? I would have gotten the measurements of the suitcase, and then I would have gone to Target, some store, right? Walmart, somewhere where they sell luggage. And I would have found a comparable sized piece of, luggage to look at, so that I would not be telling people that it was a large suitcase when in fact it was not. It's a picture. Our urban homestead, they've moved. Mac has gotten, Alice hasn't. She's pretty much slept there all day. Mac has gotten down a couple of times to come and get me during the stream, because he has a gravity feeder, which I know I need to replace, because clearly this is causing issues in this house. But he gets very upset when the gravity feeder, when the bottom of it, where the food sits, when he can see the bottom, the blue of the food holder, he gets very upset, and he'll come and hit the door to let me know. Excuse me, my blood sugar is dangerously low and there's a hole in the food. Come and help. Come and help. So he'll come and get me, and he's gotten me like 2 or 3 times today over that. And I've ignored him on this. I've ignored him twice, but on the third time, he was not going to be ignored. I think MK, in the autopsy report, I want to say they said 57 inches. I think he was like 5'1" or 5'2", maybe 5'3". Oh, these our urban homestead, these two, especially Mac, passed chubby like 2-3 pounds ago. They're full on chunks now, but they're happy. So yeah, they do. They very good. But anyway, so my point being is, I would have hauled my ass to the store and got a suitcase so that I would have an idea of what I was talking about. Oh, another Amy, you're welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much. I do have zipper experience. I must confess, though, I actually prefer a button fly. Always have. I prefer a button fly, but I do have experience with zippers. I don't know yet, Lisa. Lisa asks, what is on the Publix video? Presumably it is George in the Publix purchasing the wine. They did not publish that video to the jury. I think that they used the Publix assistant manager to authenticate the evidence, but they never published it. They also did not publish the published receipts. So I don't know when they'll get to that. Maybe that will come. in another, through another witness, but Scott, thank you, MK. See, MK clearly is good at explaining things like this, visualization, and giving visual aids to those of us who are geometrically challenged. So MK says, okay, so if you stood the suitcase up on its tallest side, it would come only to his waist if he were standing up for visual comparison. Yeah, he was definitely squished in there. Let me just pull it up, MK. I do have his autopsy report. Give me just 1 second. Here we go. Let me see. Let me see. 62 inches. I lied. 62 inches. So let me bust out the calculator. He was, that's why I said 5'1" or 5'2". Look at me. 5.16. So 5'2". Yeah, I think we all, yeah, it's even worse, MK. Even worse. Hey, Christine. Christine says, hello. I was shocked how small the suitcase actually was. Photos can be deceiving. Yes, especially because the photo that we've seen is up close and it's at such an angle that the perspective is askew, and it does appear from the way that the photograph was taken to be much larger than it actually is. All right, MK's done the math, and it would have only come up to his middle thigh then. I mean, they squished him in there. They squished him in there. Or he was squished in there, I should say. Squished in there. She should have taken the plea. She should have taken the plea. Sarah, if you get life, it's going to be your natural life. Like you're not going to get out early. You're going to, that's it. That's all. You should have taken the 15 years. You've done damn near 5. I don't know what the heck you were thinking. I don't know what she was thinking. This is a farce. But in a way, this is good, because I think for a very, very long time, people, myself included, viewed this case a certain way. And although I always thought it was horrible and tragic and what an awful way to go, I'm starting to really, really, really think about the domestic violence allegations. I am. I'm starting to really think about what we thought were, it's, see, the thing about reading reports like that is they're they don't tell all the things. They just give you what happened, like the date that it happened, the charge, and you can look up the charge in the penal code, right? And they don't really tell you everything. They don't give you a full story. And I'm really starting to wonder. I'm really starting to wonder. I really am. I don't know why he would willingly get in either, other than, you know, many people, myself included, do think of Sarah as an abuser. And is it possible that, you know, she does frequently like to project. So a lot of her narrative has been, you know, I drank to placate George. I went outside and smoked cigarettes on the porch to placate George. What if it's the other way around? What if George is the one that placates Sarah? And perhaps she dared him. She said, get in, let's see if you fit. Yeah. I'll try to find out, Carolina, if they are still alive. I don't think that I think what the judge said, I think he allotted 3 weeks of trial because it includes jury selection. He thought that jury selection would be difficult, which once again, he was right. And Mr. Owens was wrong. But so I think there's, like, I would say there's probably a couple of more weeks left. Although I can't be certain, honestly. Because I don't know some of the things, like this morning when we were listening to that Richardson hearing, and yet last night when we were going through the evidence that was supposed to be, you know, that they intended to use, they being the defense, and they all of a sudden started saying, oh, we don't intend to use that, or we don't, you know, we're not going to use that. Now I don't know. I don't know. And I have to wait and see. But I cannot find anything. And I will say that when his brother was on the stand, the way that he testified made me think that at least one of it, I know that his mom was definitely still alive in 2023, but that was a year ago. You know, I don't know. I'll have to find out. I'm sure there's a way for me to find out. I'll find out. And they went through a lot of testimony today. They did. They had a lot of witnesses on the stand. They got a lot of it out of the way. There's still a lot more to go. There's still the videos. There's still the videos from the phone, and the videos, not just the 2 suitcase videos, but there is a third video of, and that's a video that I'm quite curious, and I'm interested in seeing what it actually depicts. I trust Mr. J with his summarization of what that third video depicts. This is the video that Mr. J talked about during the hearing regarding whether or not Sarah would be able to use the battered spouse defense. No, the hearing about whether her interrogation video would come in. This is part of the motion to suppress testimony. And he talked about a video on Sarah's phone that shows Sarah coaching George on what to say to get the charges dropped against her for domestic violence in 2018. So I really want to see that exchange. I think that will be quite telling. Quite telling. Another Amy asks, where are Sarah's parents? Sarah's parents are deceased. She said in the body cam footage when she was speaking to Detective Kepsel that she was all, you know, frazzled about George's family, and the detective asked her, if she had a place to stay. And she went through her list of family members, and they're all deceased. And she has 2 brothers, one in the military and one in jail. But her parents and her grandparents are deceased. Hey, Peter, good to see you. So, oh, are you, Maria? We're a fun bunch. So yeah, I think, yeah, I answered you. I had just scrolled up in chat. I hope you were able to hear my answer, babe. Yeah, they've passed away. So, aw, thank you, Carolina. Thank you, A Dose of Genlu. Love your commentary and responses to us all. You are so wonderful. You all are, and I appreciate and care for you all. Thank you very much, Carolina. I appreciate that. I appreciate you saying that. I care about you guys, and I like talking about true crime with you guys. You guys ask really good questions, and you have really good insight, and I really enjoy, covering these cases with you. I just, I just wasn't ready for the suitcase. That one really threw me for that. I wasn't ready for the paperwork in the syringe. That's what's throwing me off. It's not that there were items of clothes in there, because I somewhat expected that. That would seem normal given what the suitcase was being used for in that moment, according to Sarah. That wouldn't have struck me odd. But the other items, the paperwork in that syringe, have really just thrown me for an absolute and complete loop. I cannot figure out. Something is wrong, and it doesn't make sense. And when something doesn't make sense, there's a reason. And I usually operate off of Occam's razor, which the simplest explanation is usually the right one. And something is wrong here. And I think that the simplest explanation in this scenario is that George might have been trying to leave her. And that might have been what the precipitating factor to how all of this began, how it started. So anyway, all right, you guys, I've been on for almost 4 hours now, and I was on for 4 hours this morning. So I'm going to get off of here. I'm going to rest my voice because I need it. I need to record the narration for that Amityville horror episode that I'm working on. I want to have that out to you guys by Sunday, because I'd like to at least get all the episodes out. It's Amityville, the first Conjuring, the second Conjuring, and the third Conjuring. That's 4. And I want to have them done by Halloween. So if I don't, get a move on, we're going to be watching my analysis of the Conjuring movies at Christmas. And we cannot have that, because I'm sure I'll have something else I want to do around that time for you guys. So I need to get it together. Thank you all for being here. It was a difficult day of testimony, and being here with you guys and being able to talk to you guys and, us analyze the testimony and the evidence that we were seeing, going through it together sure did make it easier. And I appreciate you guys all being here. I really do. I'm going to let you guys go. I know that Alex Erickson and I have more calls with Letitia from March of 2022 to go through with you guys. So that'll be this weekend. I just want to thank you guys all so very, very much for being here. I appreciate it greatly. If you haven't done so, please give your girl a thumbs up on the stream. I would greatly appreciate it. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your Friday. Thanks for spending part of it with me. And I will talk to you guys later. All right. Bye.